if you mass deport a bunch of people, then if the labor market doesn't have enough, speaking very broadly, if the labor market doesn't have enough people, native-born workers to work every single job, we have a serious labor shortage, and you deport a lot of undocumented or currently documented but not up to your standards people, then U.S. businesses aren't going to have enough workers, and then they're going to close their doors, and then that's going to cause U.S. workers to get laid off.
Why would they close their doors?
Because they don't have anybody to work for them. If you don't have enough workers, you can't run a business.
Well, then they have to pay workers more to attract
that's
them.
That's not the problem. The problem is not attracting. The problem is there is not enough. The math doesn't add up. There is not. Listen to my words. There is not enough native U.S.-born workers to work every single job. We have a shrinking labor force, and really it would be a catastrophe right now, was it not for some amount of large immigration during COVID. But in 2020, boomers were retiring at a rate of 2 to 1 compared to the average new worker entering the workforce. And I think most economists, and you have no data to support your position. I'd be happy to pull up economists who cite the fact that one of the reasons at the time we had one of the fastest recoveries from COVID and our economy was not a complete disaster was because of, and a huge part because of a lot of immigration, because we don't have enough native-born workers. So in this hypothetical scenario where a bunch of undocumented people are gone and you've deported them, like no morality, no humanity, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter how much you're paying workers, or you're offering to pay. You can pay $1 million. There's not enough people.
Well, there are going to be more jobs open, are there not, if they need workers?
Okay, so more jobs open, but there's not enough people to work the jobs.
Well, yeah, because then the businesses actually have to cater to workers. It's a workers
what if
market.
there's not enough workers?
Well, if there's not enough workers, that's even better for workers.
Okay, but oh my God, Jesus.
That's so good for workers.
Okay, so there's not enough workers. But what about all the job openings that businesses need to hire people, and there's not enough, there's literally not enough working people? What if you run a company and you need, I'm obviously keeping things really basic, but you need, 10 people, and there's literally not enough people, so you can only hire 4, then you can't run your business.
Then you got to start poaching people from other businesses by paying more than those other businesses.
That's economic catastrophe.
That's bad for those businesses.
No,
but
that's
great for workers.
That's bad for those businesses, but great for workers. You're a complete moron. If it's bad for businesses, then it's in this hypothetical, it's also bad for businesses. And again, this is a constantly talked about economic ordeal. We've seen this in China, right? They implemented a one China policy and then realized they had this massive labor shortage. But a labor shortage can be an economic catastrophe. The idea that there could just not be enough workers and that's great for workers.
That's the worst example you could have given to promote immigration. China has almost no immigration. They're doing great.
Can you hear? Are you deaf?
No, I'm not deaf.
Okay, so then let me try again, because I'd like to have a conversation. I'm not talking about immigration when it comes to China. I'm talking about a shrinking labor force and how detrimental it can be to an economy. They don't have enough people to work jobs because most of the people in our society, like is happening in the United States, are older and out of the labor force, and younger people are not repopulating at the same rate. And so you get into this scenario where your economy really starts to slow down because not enough people working. So your GDP slows down. So in the scenario, again, we're talking about, you say, businesses would just have to start poaching other workers. It would be economic catastrophe for everybody.
The problem is China hasn't slowed down. China has actually, they've done very, very well because they've invested in their own people. They didn't rely on immigration.
Okay, that's also just not true, right? In 2019 and really in 2018, I think that there was some thought process that China's GDP would overtake ours, and I think that really slowed down come COVID because of China's one China policy, and I think that hindered their ability to grow significantly faster.
Right, but they got rid of the one child policy a long time ago.
Yeah, but it's still very culturally ingrained. You don't just get rid of a policy that you've been forcing down people's throats for 50 years, and then all of a sudden, all those people who grew up in the culture being told you can only have one kid, are all of a sudden rushing to have multiple kids. Most of them don't want to do that. Why are you what are you talking about right now?
What, that China's done very well because they haven't relied on immigration. That's just a fact.
It's okay. That's just not.
That's
not like
China
you. That's
is
just
so far ahead now because
no.
they invested in their own citizens. I want America to do the same. I don't want America to rely on foreigners to replace Americans.
I think you're dumb. And we're like on two complete. Every single time I give you a point.
Yeah, you're losing the debate.
I'm not losing the debate.
You're about to run. I get it.
Every single time I bring up a like subject with some amount of data, you don't say anything. Like you just respond with some way of how you feel. And it's very frustrating, right? Again, you keep bringing up these claims about you don't want America to rely on foreigners. You're relating it to the economy. I'm giving you clear statistics that show, number one, that in your world of mass deportations, it'd be very bad for the economy. We also have plenty of data to support the fact that immigrants as a whole, documented and undocumented, have done very, very positive things for the debt and the deficit. And my theory is not that for the rest of the existence of the United States, we're just going to be, a bunch of people are just going to be coming from overseas to work. But the reality is right now, because facts over feelings, like we have a serious labor shortage problem. And right now, it just from a sheer economic standpoint, because I don't think you're super concerned about the morality, the idea of deporting a bunch of people, like, again, in a world that is not, we can talk about what's actually happening on the ground, but in that world, it would be economic catastrophe. There wouldn't be enough people to work every single job.
If there's a labor shortage, you have no problem with AI then, right? AI taking jobs, right?
No, I have a problem. That's completely different.
How? AI doesn't compete with me on rent.
Okay, so
an immigrant needs to have a place to live.
So can I
screws the housing market.
Can I back up for a second before I address that point? Can you address any of the points I'm making about like your concern clearly about immigration is that you feel like people are like the U.S. government is providing all these things. It's so fucking dumb to people.
I haven't even gotten to that yet.
Okay, so what is like? Can you get to that? Because I'm like right now I'm not hearing a whole lot of the negative per se.
Okay. Well, since the Hart Celler Act,
like actually,
can
you be quiet?
Housing prices have skyrocketed. The cost of living has skyrocketed.
Stop. I'm going to address that point in a second. But first, I'm actually going to go back.
Wages have been stagnant.
Okay, so I'm going to address that point in a second. I'm going to go back because I'm just going to force you, because you won't address things that I say, to address at least one thing I say in relation to this economics. So what about like the debts and the deficits being significantly better because of immigration and undocumented immigration? I'm happy to pull up the statistics on this.
What, the debt? How's
the debt and the deficit? Like from the Cato Institute, which obviously certainly not a left-wing think tank. I think be seen mostly as a right-wing think tank. They define
no, it's not.
They would describe themselves as libertarian, but since 1994, I think they analyzed that immigrants have caused a surplus of like, I don't fucking know what the number was. I'd have to pull it up, $18 trillion or something, but undocumented.
Is that why we're $38 trillion in debt today?
That's like that. Okay, so those two things are not related to each other at all. You're engaging in correlation.
Oh, okay.
You're engaging in correlation without causation. But if you could please actually, instead of just deflecting, actually try to engage with the point I'm making, they found that undocumented people specifically had a surplus from 1994 to I think it ends in 2020 or something. Had a surplus. They took in, I think, $6 trillion of U.S. government assistance, and they
Christ.
And they outputted $10 trillion. So that would be a surplus of about $4 trillion.
$10 trillion since when?
$4 trillion since 1994. And before, hold on, if I could just continue one more time, they also analyzed that if immigrants as a whole, not just undocumented, but if immigrants as a whole hadn't attributed a lot of these savings to our debts and deficits, that our current GDP to debt ratio would be over 200%.
And how does GDP debt ratio create jobs for Americans?
Wait, hold on. Can you address the first part of what I said about helping debt and deficits?
How's that stuff? I'm not an economist. How's that stuff help Americans?
Yeah, sure. Because your largest you talk about how government is spending money, not on you. Your second largest tax expenditure right now is interest on debt that the U.S. government has. And so when there's a surplus of $4 trillion, I can go find the exact number of the savings. But because that debt was never accumulated and there was a surplus, the U.S. taxpayers are saving a tremendous amount of money on interest on debt that they would be paying for right now. So there's one example. One of the largest expenditures of your tax dollars aren't going to a hypothetical deficit that no longer exists. I also think that it's certainly good for your local, and like if there's surpluses, and in this, the reason, like I can explain how some of this data was found, but you're also obviously massively,
Honestly, not adding up.
okay.
Because think about it.
Hold on.
Yeah,
You're
you
also-
agree
you're
illegal
also-
aliens
can-
pay around
you're-
$90 billion
you're-
per year
you're-
in taxes,
you're
right?
also, please be quiet. You're also benefiting your local and national economies by just like, again, people working, which means that businesses are growing, which means that you have more likelihood at a job. Go ahead with your not adding up. What doesn't add up?
Yeah, so do you agree that illegal aliens pay $90 billion in taxes per year, right?
I don't know what the number is.
Well, I think it's like 100 billion. So let's be generous and say it's 100 billion.
Okay.
And since 1994, so that's around 3 trillion. And you said they taken in how many trillion?
6. But
6.
you're not.
That is not adding up.
Okay.
That is that's the simple
So-
math is that
Okay.
that we've lost $3 trillion.
Yeah, well, that's really bad simple math, and I'm happy again. Like, you should probably listen to the fine economists at the Cato Institute who wrote a whole report on this. I'm happy to pull this up for you, but I think your math about about how they're generating how much money they've spit out is obviously going to be more than just. Where's that $90 billion come from? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I mean, that's like a lot of Democrat talking points is,
Okay,
they
well-
pay $90 billion in taxes every year.
Okay, well,
And frankly,
I'm not,
if we
can-
assume
I'm not. I know.
they've-
Let's not assume things with you because you're a moron, right? So again, the number is not 90 billion, and I don't know why you're coming in with talking points from people you don't agree with. That makes no sense. But here, I'll pull up the study for
How
you.
much do they pay in taxes per year?
Sure, every
Let's go
year
by your
since
number.
every year since 1994. So I have the Cato Institute ordeal here. So.
I want the number per
Yep,
year they pay.
I'm trying,
Not
Jim.
the.
I'm
No, I
trying.
don't want your
Yep.
math. I want the actual number.
Well, yeah. So it's again because you're not an economy guy, which I'm not either. But basic critical thinking skills, like these things are a little bit more complicated than just like a number. So if you could just give me a second, and I can get that general quote number for you.
Yeah, I'll give you a second.
Great. I mean, it's just like we're dealing with some really great people here, Chad. Double tap the screen for me. please.
Yep, I am pretty great.
You want?
You know, man.
Do you want undocumented individuals? Is that what?
Yeah,
you're
that's what we're arguing about, right?
Great. I think your definition of non-citizen and mine could be different. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we didn't say non-citizen. We were saying illegal aliens. So
Fiscal surplus. I want the.
it's a little weird that you call people moron and then expect them to agree with you. It's a little strange.
I actually don't expect you to agree with me. That's not exactly.
You're trying to convince someone, but you're name calling. A little strange, man.
No, I actually, but I think you misunderstand why I have these debates and who I'm trying to convince. Oh my God, sorry, there's a lot of actual math and statistics in this study about immigration as opposed to just like them typing 3 numbers that you magically found.
Well, how much do they pay
Yeah,
in
I'm
2025? Let's just give
okay.
a year.
Well, give me 1 second here, all right? Because we have this titled out to. Okay, here we go. Immigrants, non-citizens, all taxes billion. 10,770, and that's since 1994 to 2023.
Huh?
So
Wait.
they $10 billion from 1994 to to 2023. Actually, I gave you the wrong numbers when this is why I try to pull up studies instead of just like speaking when I'm asked questions. So they paid 10 billion 700 and I apologize 10 billion 7. They paid almost $11 billion in taxes, and they used
Every year.
no, from 1994 to 2023, and they used. I'm sorry, 10 trillion. Jesus Christ. Almost $11 trillion, 10 trillion, call it 10 to make it simple, and they used roughly $4.5 trillion of that was their net fiscal impact.
It's not mathing if it's, for example, in 2025, how much did...
Yeah, well, this study is from 1994 to 2023.
Okay.
So they spent they attributed their their taxes to the economy from 1994 to 2023 was 10 trillion. They used in services roughly 4.5 trillion, and so their surplus is whatever that math is.
Yeah, it's just, for example, I have a study here that says undocumented immigrants paid nearly $100 billion in federal, state, and local tax revenue in 2022. And then I think that's a decent number.
Yeah, but this is
a high number.
let's.
So if we times that by 30 for the past 30 years, it's only 3 trillion. So you'd have to at least to get the assistance that they've taken, you at least have to double it, which is it's not making sense, man.
Yeah, it's not making sense because you don't understand how they calculated taxes. So why don't we talk about that? Okay, I'll go to the actual paper itself, and I'll give you the part where they explain how they calculate the tax burden, right? Because you listed three taxes, and there's way more taxes in the United States than the three
we can argue about the numbers and stuff.
Right. So no, because I'm not going to let you come up here and say we can argue about. You can say your math is off, and then just want to go past and say, oh, the numbers are wrong. So let's.
Well, I'm not trying to embarrass you on here, but I just want to know.
Okay. If you talk over me one more time, I'm going to kick you. I'm happy.
Yeah, you're going to run. I know.
I'm not going to run. I'm trying to answer your question, but you won't let me speak. Okay, so you have to let.
Okay, I'll let you speak.
Thank you. I'm going to let you speak in a second. Holy smokes! And then, so this is government revenues. Oh, so yeah. So this is the government revenues they're counting right here. Distribution of taxes, right? The taxes we talked about. Types they included 15 revenue streams, types of different tax revenues. That's found in the appendix variables list, and then they also included along with those 15 revenue streams, tax revenues. Part of those are sales tax, payroll taxes, corporate taxes, property taxes, non-tax revenues. They included rents and royalties, dividends, transfer receipts from businesses, et cetera. And I just want to be clear here, part of the purpose of this study, because we never even got to that because I think there's some confusion, is that like undocumented people are attributing some amount of money. They're far less likely to use money, use our federal tax dollars as opposed to you and I. And that was kind of the purpose of this study. And it makes sense because most of, again, our largest expenditures are things that don't fluctuate based on population. So things like military spending or, like I said, interest on debt. Those are usually the two largest. So they're not going to fluctuate based on the population. So we're spending the same amount of money as undocumented people, let's say in this instance, come in, they pay X amount of taxes. We're not spending more on our largest expenditures, and they're significantly less likely to be in prison, even though the majority of them are in prison for a crime that we can't commit. So we're not paying for them to be in prison. They're significantly less likely. I said there's compared to a native-born U.S. citizen, immigrants are less likely, undocumented individuals are less likely to be in prison, and that is even considering the fact that most of them are in prison for a crime that we can't even commit, which is being here, illegally. And
wait. So the fact is so the crime of being here illegally, illegal entry, that's actually, it's usually not charged criminally because it's just a misdemeanor for 6 months. They're usually just deported. There's a lot of crimes where they actually don't need to be convicted to just deport them because it's easier. It's a lower threshold of proof. And also I wanted to ask, let's say for whatever reason, obviously we disagree on the numbers, But let's say that it turns out that illegal aliens
I just
actually
want to point out
cost us a lot of money. Would you support deporting them if they were a net drain?
I'm not. I mean, I think that's a very hypothetical situation, but no, not in the way that you're describing. No.
So if they were a net drain, you'd want them to stay.
Well, I also think that that's a straw man because I'm not in support of like having no immigration control or just letting everybody stay here. I'm just not in support of a mass deportation policy like you are. If there are violent people here who are committing crimes and they're here illegally, they should be deported. I think that if there's
I agree.
Okay, so if there's families here that have been here for 10 or 20 or 30 years, I think, and now I think this conversation is different about what we actually can achieve with this because of Donald Trump, but I would not be in support of just, rounding those individuals up and deporting them. I don't, in a perfect scenario, I would.
Even if they're a net drain?
Yes.
Like even if a specific family
I would be in
was a net
support.
drain.
I don't think it's possible, again, because of in relation to this topic, Donald Trump has done so many illegal things and in his expansion of executive authority. So I don't think any immigrant should trust the federal government. But in a perfect scenario where the federal government could be trusted, I'd be in support of giving these individuals a path to citizenship, even if it meant that they had to pay penalties for being here illegally or back taxes. But I don't think that we should deport them, even if they are a net drain. And again, the hypothetical that you're referring to, really quickly, doesn't exist. You say we disagree with the numbers? No, we don't. I have a Cato Institute study that I have cited that gives the numbers. You have cited no economic data besides you think that there's this, they spend this much on taxes per year. So there's no disagreement. Like, I'm the only one who cited any type of actual data.
Well, I think your principles themselves are not. I don't think you want to put Americans first. I think the fact that you want to let illegal aliens stay in the United States, even if they're a net drain, even if I don't know if you'd be willing to deport them if they can't pay the fees that you're talking about to be able to stay, if you'd be willing to deport them. It's sounding like you just want to let them stay.
So again, I just want to point out, completely bailed and pivoted from you're just not engaging. And it's on any of the previous argument, as I mentioned, all these numbers, that's fine. But again, in a perfect scenario that because ICE is violating court orders and Donald Trump teeters on this stuff on the edge of, I would argue, constitutional crisis, I don't know that this is possible anymore, or really possible in the next century. But hey, you have 1 year or 2 years to give us your information. We'll give you a path to citizenship. If you do not do that, then you're at risk. Then we have the right to deport you. You are at risk of deportation.
Right. What if they do give you the information, but they're unwilling to pay the back taxes you're talking about and all that? It's a tough spot because they're illegal aliens, job opportunities. Sure. Would you be willing to deport them?
Again, talking about a lot of hypotheticals here, but yeah, if people can't take the right processes, if we gave them opportunity to pass citizenship, then yes, they'd be at risk of deportation. I just said that.
Okay. Good. If they can't pay, good. Okay.
So again, what is your I just want to point out, you're naming hypotheticals about if I was willing to deport brown people if they were hurting us. I'm giving you evidence. I'm giving you evidence that in at least some ways economically they haven't been this massive net drain. It's just, why do you
you did why say do you assume why do you assume say even if they are a net drain? I don't think you care if they're a net drain.
No, I think that, there's two things. Number one, I think you care about that deeply, so I'm arguing your point. I'm arguing it because I think that I also care a lot about the morality aspect of deporting someone who's been here 30 years and is raising a family in the United States of America. I haven't brought that up, and I don't bring that up normally because I don't think, people in your circle care that much about that.
Well, just because you've gotten away from the law for 30 years doesn't really give you free pass.
There's no evidence. That comment is just incoherent. Nobody's gotten away from the law. The border policy was enforced under the Biden administration. He had a very similar deportation percentage to Donald J. Trump in his first term. There's been problems with our immigration system for 30 years. That shallow, incoherent talking point. It doesn't even make sense. And who did you vote for again?
Yeah,
I voted for a convicted. So you don't believe him. What are you talking about?
Well, I voted for one criminal to get rid of millions of criminals who have gotten away with being in the country for decades, however long.
And you just still haven't provided me any. Why else do you not want? Why do you support this mass deportation policy? Because we went back and forth, and you gave up on the numbers aspect. You didn't have any. Is there any other reason?
Yeah, it's mostly for job opportunities,
Okay,
the
so again, that's
rent,
just like a statistic.
the
Like those statistics do not exist, and the
well,
economic
they
data
correlate pretty damn well.
they okay, but right, correlation without causation is a pretty real thing. But like, it sounds like you're just living in a world that isn't backed up by any like economic data. So I don't know why you hold that position. It's weird.
Well, you agree that housing prices and rent have gone up in the past 50 years, right? And
Yes.
immigration
Yep.
has gone up in the last 50 years.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very correlated, and it's pretty difficult not to see
Do
a
you?
causation
Do,
effect
okay. No. 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 No.
when
No. No.
it's
No.
like
No. 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 No.
55
No.
million
No.
visa
No. No. No.
holders,
No. No. No.
15
No.
million
No. No.
illegal
No. No. No.
aliens competing with Americans for rent.
There's no such there's no such thing as it's pretty hard to not see the causation, right? We literally, you know, there's a whole Wikipedia page titled "Correlation Without Causation" for this
Right.
exact
But
reason.
but you think 65 million extra people in
It's
in the
it
United States
actually it
doesn't
doesn't.
increase rent.
Two things. Number one, it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is that you have some amount of data to back it up, and you don't because you just feel. I hate brown people. Feel. So I don't care.
I'm brown,
I'm
dude.
not-
You need to stop with the racist crap.
I listen. I'm not interested in sitting up here and debating how you feel versus I feel. You're like, I feel like these things over the last 50 years are correlated. I don't give a fuck. Okay. Like we do the whole correlation causation thing. I don't know. I'd have to go look
I
at
mean,
the
you
economic
also don't
data.
give a fuck that they're in that drain. Or if they were in that drain, you'd want them to stay. It's
All right, you be safe, bro. If you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know. And here's the thing: there might be evidence out there to support the idea that it's increased rent prices, and that's a different conversation. I would argue, I would assume, and I'm going to purely say this is an assumption. Maybe I should do some more research on it, but I would assume a lot of that has to do with like our lack of building houses. But whatever, bro. If you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know. Oh my God. Oh, that was frustrating, dude. Well, like, I just don't understand why we do things sometimes. If you're a Trump supporter, you can request up. Hello, YouTube. Kim, thanks for being a Maori Squad member. I actually appreciate you so much. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how old are you?
44.
Okay. You like Trump?
Yeah. I
Yo,
do.
Toy, thanks for the comment. Jackie, you're the best. Thanks for being over on YouTube. Okay. Well, why do you like Trump? Wait, you're 41?
44.
44. Sorry. All right. Why do you how do you feel about Trump? Usually I just start with like, you know, a lot of people are more upset with him these days because like the economy sucks in like Iran. So maybe we start there.
I like the fact he's going to cut the head off the snake in Iran, so we don't have to deal with Hamas, the Houthis, and China funding all of them. So they don't keep attacking Israel, and then we don't keep seeing Republicans and Democrats that love APAC money shipping our shit overseas.
Let's take a timeout right there. Let's take a fat timeout. First of all,
Oh, sorry, my bad.
no, you're good. I think we've talked before.
Yeah, we actually had an in-depth conversation years ago. Where you been, man?
Here, I don't go live.
You look a lot better. You got a smile on your face. You look real like tired and drained before like the election, like about 6 months before you stepped away, and I was glad for you.
Okay.
Hey,
So to your comment, yeah, right, Em. To your comment about like Israel, like I assume then you're not really in support of what Donald Trump is doing.
no, I am, because no matter what happens, if Iran still exists and China's funding them with the 25-year deal that they did through oil and infrastructure in 2021, Iran's going to have money to fund all these Islamic extremist groups that can attack Israel.
Well, right now they're making an enormous amount of money, more money than they were making previously under even I think there's I'd have to go back. I'm not going to say something that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're making an enormous amount of money right now off the fact that we're buying oil from them, which we weren't doing previously.
Iran?
Correct, because of the oil crisis that Donald Trump caused and I guess wasn't prepared for.
Says you haven't shipped a single barrel, but like 1 year and like I can't remember, like 2 decades.
So let's
It's very minimal.
well, no, it's actually not, and we just lifted
We
oil.
get like
We just
we get like
they admit
40% of our shit
the
from Canada.
the administration the administration has been talking about how this is quote very very temporary, but it's kind of absurd when you take into the idea. Let's see, Iran Iran is earning about $140 million per day from oil exports. Obviously, because oil is above $100 a barrel, the U.S. is allowing these shipments
from the EU and Asia.
The U.S. is allowing these shipments to avoid worsening global supply shortages. And they're exporting quite a bit of oil compared to what they normally do because we're allowing that. Before the war, Iran produced just shy of 1.1 million barrels of oil per day, sold it at $65 a barrel. And right now they're up to almost over 1.5 million barrels a day.
Yeah, when you sink China's New Deal into it, they start producing even more in infrastructure.
Okay, but like, don't you think it's like you're concerned about the money that they could be funding to these groups, and like you're not concerned that they're getting super fucking rich right now because the U.S. like all the crushing sanctions that Trump had because we put them back on because we got out of the Iran nuclear deal are lifted because of an oil supply shortage that we can't get out of because they closed the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, why do you think that they're all the members of the United Nations that are overseas are against what Donald Trump's doing?
Because it's completely.
They don't give a shit about terrorists. They already let them move into their own countries.
No, I think they're against. Wait. I think they're against what Donald Trump's doing because it has no clear objective. In some ways, violates international law, and there was probably no like validity to do it. Why did they?
International law does it violate?
Wait, hold on. Why did they do this in the first place? That might answer your question.
Well, that's simple because ever since DOD, ever even back under Obama, they've been enriching uranium, which under the United Nations Security Council, they're not allowed to do unless recognized by the Security Council, which they're not, but Israel is.
Okay, so let's pause right there. So you believe that they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon?
I don't care 2 weeks or not. Those fucking shits,
let's
they shouldn't even have a fucking one piece of uranium.
So let's take another pause. So when Donald Trump bombed their nuclear sites months ago and said that their nuclear program was set back a whole generation. Was that?
Yeah, it was set back.
Okay, set back 6 months? That doesn't sound like a whole generation.
I don't know. They could have been moving more shit. You got China back.
Okay, but like that doesn't. I'm just saying like that definitely raises questions. Donald Trump came out and said it was completely and totally eviscerated and set back a generation. Sounds like either he was lying or he was wrong.
No, he was right. The fact is, China's on the Security Council with us in the United Nations. It'll look really bad to sit there and have two members of the United Nations Security Council.
Okay, can you address what I just said? Like, was their nuclear program eviscerated like Donald Trump said 6 months ago, or was it not?
Could have been. I don't know.
Okay, so what? So like, there's no there. Like, oh, come on. Let's stick. Be quiet. Let's just stick to like a basic yes no. We can try to have like a conversation. This is very simple. Okay, Donald Trump claimed to the world, threatened media companies on live TV. The Iranian nuclear program is completely and totally eviscerated. It's set back a generation, peace through strength. So either that didn't. The only scenario in which now apparently we're attacking them and U.S. troops are dead. By the way, because of it, Donald Trump is like playing games on national television.
Mid-air fueling accident.
Can you? Yeah, which is obviously part of this operation. I want to be clear. And there's also more deaths in relation to not.
People die all across the U.S. in the military from stuff like that. They do it from skydiving accidents.
Okay, so again,
I'm not demeaning their death.
So
it's true.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just try one more time. Okay. Again, I just want to be clear, chat. Like Joe Biden got us out of was the first president in so long to get us out of these conflicts. Pulled out of Afghanistan. 13 American troops died. And then at the funeral, they pulled a clip of him disingenuously looking at his watch, and they all freaked out. Donald Trump was on stage today or yesterday going, then they launched the missiles, and they go, boom, 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 fire, fire. It's so cool. You have to see it. And then I give the word. He's like playing it out like a video game. 13 troops are dead, and now this is where we're at now. It's just like, oh, fuck it. Who cares? People die all the time. Also, 175, Iranian little girls got instantly eviscerated by a U.S. taxpayer-funded missile, but international law, like, who cares? It's not what we do anymore. This is head on a pike, foreign policy. Now, if we could get back to the question I've asked you 3 times, okay, it doesn't seem logically possible in my mind that Donald Trump completely destroyed the nuclear program based on his words, but is now attacking because there is a threat of nuclear weapons. So, like, can you please just be a little bit logical and be like, you know what, maybe Trump was wrong, and we didn't destroy all the uranium, the uranium. At least that would be, I'd still have a lot of questions and disagreements, but at least that would be logically consistent.
How would it be logically consistent if you're trying to force me to give an answer just so you can agree with it?
It's not, it's just, you can't, like, do you understand?
Because the DOD wasn't reporting those other facilities.
All right, good. Just leave. Everyone in the comments going, and I'm inviting them up. I'm inviting them all up. They won't come up. it's a good time. Thanks everyone for being here. 733 people. You guys are the best. Double tap screen over on TikTok and YouTube. Don't worry, I'm here. I am here. Of course, Kim. Thank you for being here. Oh man, who is that? Dark, I believe, on YouTube. Avocado says you're so young. I guess so. I don't know. Define young. They just think money 24/7. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It is Callie. It was. Yo, Dark Sunray, good to see you. Avocado says you suck. Well, you're spending a lot of time commenting on my YouTube channel on Tuesday at 12:30 in the morning. So I feel like, Oh my God. If you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know. If you don't agree, he just kicks you. Now, I usually just kick people who I can't have a conversation with. I feel like we just did both those debates for over 20 minutes. But Tricky Panda, again, I'm inviting you to the stage. You're not going to come to the stage. Go Trump. I'm going to invite all these people. Okay, here we go. Okay, we got one. I'll give credit to this guy. Came up.
Boom.
What's up? How old are you?
Boom. I'm old enough to be your father.
All right. That's really great.
What are you? You're like 20 though, right? You're the next Dean Withers or what?
I'm 24.
Are those your inspiration? Dean Withers and what's the other guy's name? Parker?
No,
You like those guys?
I know them. I don't really go live that often.
Those are your buddies?
No, I don't go live.
In real life or no?
Can I speak? I don't go live that often. I just do it for fun. So I make other YouTube videos and TikToks and stuff. So anyways, you want to talk about politics?
What do you want to debate? Pick a topic.
So why do you like Trump? Hey, Bren, good to see you.
Well, like I said, I'm old enough to be your father. I've seen a few presidents in my time, and this is the first president we've had that speaks from the heart. Very rare. And we needed it. We needed it. I know you're young and you don't know what's going on, but I'd love to explain it to you.
Sure. So let's start here with I've said a few times tonight, the fact that the no to war is peace president, no more regime change war. If you vote for me, we won't have war with Iran. Got into a massive war with Iran where people are dying, and the fact that the golden age of America.
He never said the word. There would be no war with Iran. He didn't pick Iran and say that. He did say no new wars, right? But this is a war that's been going on for 47 years. We're just doing something about it.
Right. Which I'm sure you fully expected to do something about it when you voted for him in November. I heard so many Trump supporters talking about the idea that now that we have a strong president, we're going to go solve the 50-year problem in the Middle East. I remember that guy. I'm sure you had.
Well, we certainly smelled it coming. We certainly were backing Israel, weren't we?
I'm
under
not.
Biden?
I don't even know that I can engage in such lunacy. But the more important thing is that's happening. The economy, all that stuff, is a disaster.
Which topic do you want to go? It's not going well for you. Biden, let's face it, Biden, he was very pro-Israel, was he not? He was definitely their ally, especially in the Middle East. Isn't that a fact?
Sure.
Okay. And so they were attacked on, I think it was October 7th, what was it, 2019? Or what year was that? No, it was 2022, 2023? Anyways, escalation from there. And obviously a reaction, but
yeah, so
it's gone back and forth. It's just inevitable. They've been talking about death to America longer than you've been alive.
It's just that's not how that works, right? And it's not inevitable. So what is the justification for an imminent strike on Iran?
Well, we might as well take care of business now. It's a great time to do it.
So do you believe that they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon?
2 weeks? You can never know if it's 2 weeks or if it's 4 weeks.
Okay. So this is just this is going to become very frustrating for me because I've done this several times. Okay.
It's tough to lie.
Okay. I'm going to be very calm. Please don't interrupt me. Just going to be really simple about this. Okay. For most Americans, including I think a large swath of Republicans who are put on this, the concern becomes the justification, and the reason that is because we heard first from Marco Rubio, who didn't mention an imminent strike, who said we did it because Israel was going to strike and Trump had the strength to back him up. And he then walked that comment back. We heard from other administration officials who said there was an imminent strike like in the region, like a ballistic missile strike on allies. And so we had to do something. While that was happening, the Pentagon briefed members of Congress and said that there was no evidence of an imminent strike. And the first time we saw Trump after this happened, he said that they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. So I kept it very brief and simple, but all of those things are different.
He never said that it was 2 weeks.
He
away
did.
from
He
a
said that.
nuclear
He said
weapon.
that. He said that word for word. He
Word
actually.
for word. Go grab it.
Okay, sure.
He's from New York, so he says a lot of things.
No, no, no,
in-
no, 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 no,
in
no, no,
general.
no, 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 no. Don't be quiet, please. Like again, like I just like have higher
You
standards.
hate the truth, huh? You can't. You have to live in your TDS fantasy. Oh my God! Anytime that you can score a point, you're so desperate. Go find your little quote. The guy says something, and you guys jump down the.
That's because unlike you, we have standards for the president of the United States. We don't consider him just like like your uncle. Like
That's how you.
Okay, so if I'm gonna
You
pull
voted
up,
for Biden.
I'm gonna pull up the clip one more time. I'm happy to talk to you about it, but you got to stop talking while I pull it up. Okay, thank you. So,
You sure as hell do mute like Dean Withers.
all right, I'm just trying to be able to pull up this.
You
clip.
have to mute when you lie this much.
Okay. Can I play the clip for you?
Stop muting.
They would
There's no need.
nuclear weapon. If we didn't hit within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. If we didn't do the B-2 attack a number of months ago, they would
Okay,
have
if
a
we
nuclear
didn't
weapon.
hit
And
within 2
am I
weeks,
crazy?
they'd have a nuclear weapon. So you said that they will have a nuclear weapon in 2 weeks. That there's a difference. And
Okay.
so
Okay. Wait.
you,
So
Dean Withers, and Parker,
there's. I'm not done.
Weeks to the B-2 bombers, which took out their
you had your
nuclear
chance, buddy.
capability, and they
You
would have had a
misquoted him.
nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and they would have used it long before this press conference.
Was that? Oh wait, I'm sorry. That was from. I just pulled up the B-2 bomber from a month ago as opposed to this one. Here we go. This one. This is from less than 2 weeks ago.
Very happy to be here. I wasn't supposed to be president right now. I was supposed to be maybe in Ireland, taking it easy, or someplace taking it easy. But I'm president now, and I got the Olympics, I have the World Cup, and I have the 250th year, and we all have it together. And I just do want to say that the war is proceeding very, very strongly. We're doing very, very well. Iran, knocking the hell out of them, and you have to do that. We can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They were 2 weeks away, in my opinion, 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon.
In his opinion.
So be quiet, right? So I didn't misquote him, nor was I wrong. Okay, so you're going to concede to
If
that.
you're so fucking right, you wouldn't need to mute me.
Okay, because I already know, like you're going to start. I'm not.
You have to mute because you're a fucking TDS little
So
manipulator.
you're a full grown.
Quit muting, dude.
You're a full grown adult. You can have
You
a.
learn from children.
All right. Hey, you're okay. Okay, you are a full grown adult. You can have a conversation about
Stop
this.
muting.
Okay, I'm muting you because you're going on tangents now, and I would like to stay on the topic, which is the fact that you said that Donald Trump, you said that Donald Trump didn't say that. I just pulled up a clip of him.
He just said, in my opinion.
Okay, so his opinion of President of the United States.
He didn't say it in factual matter. He said it in my opinion. He said the words in my opinion.
Okay.
And what he's saying there, it's a very broad statement. Why? Because he's saying that in his estimate, he lets it go another 2 weeks. They're meeting, they're aligning themselves with the Sunnis. They're moving things that you don't know about,
Okay, so
right?
do
You
you-
don't know their location.
So do you believe
You
that?
could never guess their location,
Okay, so do you believe that?
right?
So it's a yes or no question. Do you believe that they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon?
They could have been.
Okay,
In Trump's opinion,
so
certainly.
okay. So it sounds like the president of the United States said that the intelligence that he had, they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon.
From what I gathered, he was saying basically within 2 weeks, if we don't do something within 2 weeks, they are going to be meeting. They are going to be going forward. You don't believe that? What do you?
How-
Do you honestly believe that they're?
How
let's-
how old are you?
That has nothing to do with
It
this
does,
right now.
because
you're
you are-
desperate.
No,
You're desperate, buddy. You're desperate, bud.
Dude, I just want
Listen,
to.
this
I
is
just want to.
Iran,
No,
dude. You
I
are
just
fucking.
want to outline what just happened in the last 5 minutes. I said Trump said they were 2 weeks away. I said Trump said they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. You said, quote, Donald Trump did not say that. And then I pulled up a clip where the exact quote is, I believe they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. And now you're telling me that, oh, that's not the
It's
same
his-
because, quote, it's his opinion. Okay?
right.
You're acting like a baby up here. Like
That's
what?
right. So stop muting. You got your point, and
You're
I'm going to
being
explain
you're
my
being
point.
very disingenuous, and I'd really like to give you a chance to stay up here and actually try to have a conversation. But you have to be
word-
reasonable that you're being really disingenuous right now. You're
Using
being,
the mic,
dude. I have to
using the
mute
word
you.
disingenuous.
Okay, I have to mute you
You
because
are cheap and you're a copycat. Okay, let me speak and I'll respond.
how am I a copycat?
Because you're doing the same shit Dean Withers does. You mute and then you say disingenuous.
I don't
Okay.
think you're quite familiar with my
You're being
history.
disingenuous, sir. You know Iran has been looking for a nuclear weapon. Have they not, or have they?
I
Have they had an interest in a nuclear weapon? Let's
yes,
just go with the basics. Yes, they have.
sure.
So why does it matter if Trump thinks it's 2 weeks or if he thinks it's 6 weeks or 100 weeks?
I'll answer that question because we started this conversation. I said, what is the justification for an imminent strike? And I think most Americans, including myself, would not be comfortable with the idea, nor does it make logical sense if we believe that Iran is trying to acquire a nuclear weapon, which has been said many times over the last few decades, but many
You're
times
shilling.
but
Are
many
they not?
can
Are they not?
can I
Are they? Are they not,
sir
Chris?
sir you're a
Are
grown
they? Are they not?
I'm trying
Chris?
to answer your question.
Well, Chris, let's not pretend that they're not.
You can be an adult.
Okay.
You can
You're
be an
negating that fact that they are
okay.
looking to hurt us.
Please, I'm trying to give you a chance. Okay.
I know the truth hurts.
All right. So again, that's been said. That's maybe let's just say hypothetically to make things simple. That's been true for 20 years. But Donald Trump didn't attack them in their first term. Many other U.S. presidents, it's been longer than 20 years, haven't directly attacked them. So I don't think that that's a justification if they are not looking. If they're not going to imminently strike, it's not. There's no justification to strike. And I want to point out. Not only are we doing the little pretzel thing about what Trump said, but other members of his administration did not mention a nuclear weapon, and it doesn't make sense. Obviously, then that raises questions about Donald Trump saying when he originally, because actually the second clip I played that I said, whoops, that was from the B-2 bomber, that's an exact quote of him saying if I didn't bomb, they would have been 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump also said,
in my opinion,
I set back their nuclear program to a whole generation. So how did he set back their nuclear program a generation? And then 6 months later, we have to strike because they're about to have another nuclear weapon. It was his first.
No, the bigger question is, Chris, why are you shilling for Iran who wants to have a nuclear weapon?
That I just want to point out that's a grown man. That is a grown like this. This is. It's actually so hard to articulate what I know. So many of you feel it in the comments, but like I just did 10 minutes. I couldn't speak because he was so angry that I was muting him, and we started with this. I said, what was the justification? He said, it's been 50 years of violence. I said, do you believe they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon? And he says, I don't know. And I says, it's a yes or no. Do you believe Donald Trump when he says they're 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon? That man said, quote, Donald Trump did not say that. I said, yes, he did. He said, pull up the clip. And then I pulled up 2 separate clips of Donald Trump saying, in one of the clips, the literal exact quote is, if I didn't strike, Iran was going to have a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks. And I'm sorry, the exact quote was, I think, we're 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon. So literally the exact quote. And then he said, oh, Donald Trump said that in his opinion. So it's not the same thing. The president said that in his opinion. That doesn't make it fact. That dude, I don't know how old that dude said he was. He said he was old enough to be my father. So I'm going to give you a lesson. I don't make generalizations. I don't, about groups. I don't do that, except for one. And I'm okay with this generalization, and I'm allowed to make the generalization because I'm a straight white man, okay? So I'm making a generalization about my group. It is so consistent on TikTok Live that when I run into men, I won't even say straight, I'm just gonna make a generalization about men, because that's okay. Men are perfectly fine, trust me. There's no generalizations made about men. When I run into older men that I feel like most of the time especially are straight white older men, and by older I mean not my demographic, okay? You're not old if you're 40, but older, okay? They tend to be between the ages of 40 and 55. Straight white men are the softest dudes on my panel every time. And it's so clear they have so much pent up shit. And I know why. I know, because their wife left them. Their wife left them. The wife was like, honey, like, I can't do this anymore. It's really small. I know you're insecure. I can't, like, this is getting to me. I really want you to go to therapy. They won't go to therapy because they have a lot of insecurity. And so they feel like therapy is like, they're like super soft. They're very emotional. They're like children. And they bundle it all up. And for some reason, they always end up on my TikTok lives. And I know I'm obviously being a little bit of a comedian, if you will. I'm not that funny. That was actually kind of cringe. I shouldn't have said comedian. I was trying to say, I know I'm being a little funny, but genuinely, like, it is so consistent a theme between the ages of 40 and 55, straight white men on my panel. So they're like little children, dude. And then my running theory after that, after the generalization, is they're little children because they have small wieners, because their wife left him, their wife is out with another dude, which honestly I support. Okay? I don't support cheating. If you're married to a guy acting like this, a MAGA dude that you just saw, I think go be with another dude. I'm supportive of that. Let's just be real about it. I wouldn't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? If you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know. Support cheating on MAGA. Bro, oh my God, dude. Like, what? Like, I feel like I'm being so. And people say this to me about, like, in terms of, there's other debate people on TikTok. Like, I'm pretty fucking tame. Like, that was crazy. That was one of the crazier, like, disingenuous moments I've had on TikTok Live. That interaction. That was nuts. Like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? Thank you for the hand. I'm not going to sit here and have a conversation with somebody who's like, I'm like, they're 2 weeks away from nuclear weapon. Do you agree with Donald Trump? Donald Trump didn't say that. Then I play a clip of Donald Trump saying it. He's like, well, Donald Trump said that in his opinion. Bro, you need help. Like, you are not coming at this at all. At least try to be a little logical. Even if he was like, all right, I was wrong, and then continue to argue the point, I'd have like a massive amount more respect. My respect would still be in the ground, but at least I'd be like, you know what? He's like trying to wiggle his way out. Dude didn't even like, oh my. Hello? Yeah, that's not right. Exactly. The president apparently can just issue opinions like your uncle at dinner. Donald Trump gets up on a stage. He's like, Iran's 2 weeks away from nuclear weapon, in my opinion. And everyone's like, oh, that's completely different. Absurd, right? Hello?
Hi.
Hi. How old are you? Okay. All right. I count. That was off-putting. I'm not gonna lie. I was not prepared for that. If you're a Trump supporter, you can let me know in the comments.
What's going on, man?
Maddie, it's good to see you. What's up? How old are you?
19.
Fantastic. You like Trump?
I'm an independent, but I lean conservative. I do not like Trump right now.
I see. I love you, and I actually like your profile picture. I do. And I am not the type of person on debates who kicks people. I'll talk to everyone, to some people's annoyance. But this is my second stream in a row where I'm just like, I'm sorry. I feel really bad, but I am currently just looking for Trump supporters. I see. I'm sorry. It's not nice. I apologize. Maybe a time soon, though. I promise. I promise. I appreciate you being a conservative who doesn't like Trump. Mad respect for that. Mad respect. Sorry, I see. Sorry, man. Man, we're dealing with some fascinating people tonight. Good to see everyone. 833 people, double tap screen. YouTube, thanks for being here. I love each and every one of you. You guys are the best, truly. Also, Kim, thank you so much for $3.28 on PayPal. I actually really fucking appreciate that. It means, well, that's a quick Celsius. That's like, might be the exact. Well, Celsiuses are going up because of Trump's tariffs. They're a big deal.
Probably $5 these days.
All right. Read this article. Iran is not a threat. The USA is just mad because the government they put in control is no longer in control. That was the thing. I will check out this article that you sent. I appreciate it. Can we get some W's for Kim? I actually really appreciate that. Genuinely, I never take that for granted. Ever. I mean that. You're the best. Thank you. And I will check that out. Well, there's definitely some history there. It's a big history. Hello.
Hi,
Hi. How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Amazing. Why do you like Trump?
I think, there's obviously multiple reasons I like Trump, but I'd say like a main one is, DEI, affirmative action. Like, I think that I like what the conservatives represent as far as, trying to take race out of the equation in American life. And that's something that Trump's spoken out for multiple times. And I think it's a positive thing for our culture.
Okay. Sure. Well, okay. Sorry. Obviously, there's like a lot of really intense stuff going on in the world right now. If you want to, point that out, he's like the Epstein files are like not getting released anymore with Iran and like gas. We're gonna have like probably the craziest oil crisis we've ever seen in history, maybe. But when it comes to this, like, yeah, I don't really like in terms of eliminating race from the equation. I mean, obviously, like in government, he has the power to do things on a government level. I think it's really bad for executive authority, but he threatens, private businesses or threatens colleges or any of these things if they don't
Well,
do politically what he wants, which I think
it's
is.
not just threatening, it's also about, his rhetoric and just like what he represents for America. Just by having a president that believes something, then even if he's not threatening, like that still has an impact because, the president represents the American public in that sense.
Have we talked before?
I think at one point, yeah.
Oh, I knew it. I fucking knew it. You know what? He's actually a respectful guy. He actually is. And I'm sorry. But I made a promise to myself that there was only two requirements. Got to be MAGA, and I haven't talked to you before. I'm sorry. Also, and we'll talk again. Don't worry. We'll talk again. This is not the only live I'm doing this. We let up repeat people, repeat offenders. That's not... Oh, jeez. That's not... I'm sorry. I got to think before I speak. That wasn't what I meant to say. That was not... No, that was not. Okay. Don't worry. You're a respectful person. We will talk soon. Also, white privilege in America definitely exists. So I think what Donald Trump's doing is like bad. Yeah, maybe that's not like the best phrase. It's not a good phrase to use. That is not a good phrase to use. It's not the best.
Hello. First, I would like to say I'm 15, but I would like to have a nice, productive.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You do have to be 18 to join TikTok Live because it's very against the rules. I get my account taken down for not being 18, so I apologize. If you are a young individual passionate about politics, I think that's amazing. I think that's great. Okay, I started being very passionate about this when I was like 16, but it can't be TikTok Live, unfortunately. It can't be. I'm sorry. It's not my rule. It's not my rule. To get the luck to hear the lightning strike. Yo, thanks for that's right. Thanks for being on the YouTube side, guys. I appreciate you. Well, who's Maddox? I don't have a Maddox in my thing. Who's this? I don't even have a Maddox in my requests. Where is this person? Excuse me. Where is this person? Maddox. Okay. It doesn't look like I can request this individual. Maddox, if you can request. If not, stop typing in my chat, please. Or you'll just like get banned. Oh, you're not 18. Yeah, you're out. You're out. You're out. You're out. How's my Trump impression? Smallville asks. Well, it's not bad. It's big. It's big. I walked in. I said, wow, it's very big. And we're looking into it. Rochelle, good to see you. If you're a Trump supporter, let me know in the comments. It's easiest to bring you up that way. How many people we got over on the YouTube side? I can't see at the moment.
Hello, Chris. I'm going to get impeached in a few years.
Wow. Hold on. I'm actually
the worst president of all time. MAGA is not nice.
It's not nice. It's a not nice thing. I walked in. I said, wow, not nice.
What rhymes with not nice? Ice. And I love ice. Pro ice. Let's send them into the airports, actually. I love.
What a great individual. What a great individual. Let's get some W's in the chat for that individual. If you are a Trump supporter, you can let me know on the YouTube side. If 173 viewers on YouTube is pretty good, Jackie. Thank you. On the YouTube side, there's never any pressure. There's never any pressure. None of my content will ever be behind a paywall. But I did open memberships for like $4.99, $5.99 a month. You become part of the Maori Squad. Really helps me out. I'm renting out a studio in Chicago. That along with my rent and eating is well. It's a lot of money. That's what. Oh wow! So I did open up that option, but I don't like doing things like that. So that's why we're not putting anything behind a paywall. I'm actually not offering you anything better than what you already get. Because if I do, then I kind of feel like a piece of shit. So only if you feel so inclined. Also, there's Venmo and PayPal in my bio, but on TikTok, never any pressure, truly. Okay, if you're a Trump supporter, let me know in the comments. I love all of you. Hello.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, how old are you?
I am in my 40s.
Amazing. Why do you like Trump?
So the I support all of Agenda 47 and his policies. So we could go anywhere from the tax cuts to securing the border, to making America safe. I mean, there's every point of his 20-point plan is, what I agree with, and I still think we're on that mission, man.
Emily, I really appreciate that. I'm excited. That gives me a lot of confidence.
What are
Okay.
you excited about? What did I miss? What did Emily tell you?
Oh, nothing. I was just reading just a comment. I was gonna say, well, like before we go to like maybe some of this plan, like obviously we're over a year in now, so like some of the like, how do you think he's done in some of those plans?
Oh, I think we're following it to a T, my friend. If you want some of the accomplishments, I'd be happy to give them to you.
Well, let's before we go there, let's start like with the economy. I think inflation is obviously sticking around. We have economic data to support the idea that tariffs, and I don't even know because he like flip flops on this every day, but tariffs have obviously caused some amount of inflation. Obviously, oil prices are really high because he's waging war in Iran, and I would argue that like this issue, the economy being the issue, if you had to pick one, the issue that got him elected. A lot of Americans really unhappy with it. There's a Fox News poll. I'm being generous here. A Fox News poll this week, just Americans, approve or disapprove Trump, inflation. Approve 28%, disapprove 71%, okay? And that's obviously a huge flip from the same poll probably in like October that was like, Trump on the economy, they're going to approve by like 60% because that's what got him elected. So like, that's right, the Dark Lord. So like, what's going wrong there?
So y'all are taking blips in time right now. I mean, when we look at from the time that Trump was elected until just recently, our inflation was hitting the Fed targets. Which was, I believe, 3% and then maximum employment. That's why we've been lowering the interest rates. And so everything had been, going great. Now with the recent war, and then, I want to remind you that we also hit all-time lows in the United States. We had the oil prices or gasoline prices in America went below Biden or the below 2021 pricing. So it was, I think. I don't want to give you exact numbers, but we had experienced the lowest since 2021, right? And so we were headed in the right direction. And so it wasn't until last month, right? And I want to remind you also that nobody gave credit to Trump for bringing down the gas prices as low as they came. It was, Trump, the president doesn't control prices. They were going down prior. But let me remind you this, as soon as this happened, who are you blaming for the prices going up? President Trump. And so you don't get to have it both ways to where you're not giving them thanks when we're bringing it down. But the second they start to go up, which is because I think of a warranted reason, then, hey, bad Trump and now our economy's shit. No, that's not how it works.
Let's address a few of the points.
Okay.
Let's address a few things. So number one, just to start kind of from the end, like I don't know. I'd be curious for a source of oil prices the lowest since 2021. I think they certainly held fairly stable, almost identical up and before this to a year ago. This would have been 8 months into his presidency. The end of 2024 under Joe Biden, they were practically identical. So I know Donald Trump at that time. There's a clip of him saying oil prices have reached a 20-year low. They weren't even at like a 2-year low or something at that time. So like he's just made shit up. He's just make shit up all the time, obviously. But I certainly don't think there was this like massive decline in oil prices. A substantially different, certainly from the end of Joe Biden's presidency. Obviously, there was there's a lot of supply and demand issues in 2021. So I don't really care if like it was the lowest price since 2021. And then to some of the other points, like obviously the long-term Fed target is 2%. And I don't think that like that's really paints a full picture at all of inflation. I think Donald Trump started on January 20th with inflation at 2.9%. We got down to, I think, 2.4%, roughly, because I can't remember the number off the top of my head. And then all of a sudden we went from 2.4 to 2.7 to 2.9 to 3. And, that started right around April, which there was, some giant, I can't remember, I think it's called Liberation Day, where we enacted tariffs all across the world, or on goods coming into the United States that were paid for by U.S. businesses. So obviously, and there's data to support, it's not just correlation without causation, data to support that increase in inflation was caused by tariffs. And then, I think we've been bouncing up and down since then. Partly because he backed off on a lot of his tariffs, and I think partly because the U.S. economy is really, really, really slowing down. And in relation to the Fed, I think the Fed has said twice, including this week, and then right when he got elected, that they've substantially had to change plans because of expected inflation due to Donald Trump. So, I mean, before the election, they wanted to do they wanted to cut rates 4 times, I believe, in 2025. Donald Trump gets elected. Their next Fed meeting, they say, we're only planning on cutting rates twice because we expect in 2025 for inflation to be really sticky and possibly rise. And it was obviously because, hey, Donald Trump's planning on enacting all of these tariffs, and that's exactly what happened. And then more recently, actually bailing on any rate cuts now in 2027, to a lot of people's dismay, because again, concerned about inflation. And it's kind of put the Fed in a really hard spot because you're dealing with, the worst case scenario. You're dealing with stagflation. You're dealing with prices still rising, but the economy really slowing down. The slowest pace of hiring since in 25 years, not including COVID. And the employment rate rising, and consumer confidence near an all-time low. So the economy is really starting to sputter. People are feeling the pain, but inflation keeps rising. It puts the Fed in a hard spot. You'd rather the economy slow down and at least inflation's lowering, so you can cut rates and try to pick it up. But I think that the way you describe the story on inflation is certainly not the full story, and Donald Trump has played a pretty big role in keeping prices relatively high. Especially considering our inflation was lowering for I don't know how many months off the top of my head, so I'm just going to throw a number out there. But I want to say, a year and a half or something that we had consistent decline in inflation, maybe not as fast as we all would have liked. But that changed when we implemented, these tariffs.
So that was a lot. So you would agree that the price of oil does play a major impact in inflation, correct?
Sure.
Okay. So back to the statement of Trump had the lowest oil prices since 2021. There's a Politico article, and I believe Politico would be on your side, right? More of a left-leaning, bias news organization. Would you agree with that, sir?
No, I think they're just factual, but sure.
Okay, well, so their article states that oil prices slumped to the lowest point since 2021 after the tariff announcement, and then it shows oil prices from 120 all the way down to the $40 a barrel. So, in fact, Trump did bring down the oil prices, which I believe also contributed to helping bring down the inflation. So those are objective facts.
Wait. I just wait. No.
I'll let you finish.
I know, but
I'll let you talk for about 5 minutes.
But there's an.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just feel like there's an important time out there, which is you really brutally contradicted yourself in 2 statements. You said, I believe that this is what brought down inflation, and you said that's an objective fact. Number one.
No, what I said was objective is that the oil prices came down. That is an objective fact.
Okay, but there's still one problem with that, which is what did Donald Trump do to cause those prices to come down?
The tariffs.
How did the tariff prices cause oil prices to come down?
According to this article, it says, and I just wanted to bring up something for you. Let me scroll back up. The U.S. oil industry is suffering from the lowest crude prices in years, surging costs for steel, and economic downturn that could send consumers' demand for its products plummeting. Oil prices have tumbled nearly 15% since April 2nd, their lowest level since April of 2021, a drop that is testing oil executives' patience, and it's prompting some in the industry to warn the White House that Trump's trade policy risks killing the plan for energy dominance. So it was the tariffs in his trade policy that were bringing down the oil prices. I mean, according to that article there.
Right. I think the reason I asked you is because, like, again, you're obviously citing. Like, there's obviously
It's an article.
I understand. I'm just saying there's obviously there's obviously like a potential negative that comes with what you just said, which is that there's these tariffs that cause significantly less potential demand and causing these shocks, which will lower oil prices. I mean, obviously, some of those negatives of lower demands and alienating our allies, even if with those lower demands playing out, things still being shipped to the United States that had the demands were lowered because of the tariffs, and the tariffs are obviously caused inflation. So I'm just saying, like, it's to act as if Donald Trump enacted a policy that caused oil prices to go down is like, I just feel like a little misleading, as opposed to Donald Trump enacted a policy that caused a global shock in the market and assumed less demand for people, which has its potential negatives, and then caused oil prices to lower. But continue.
Any way you want to slice it or dice it, Donald Trump's policies is what was resulted in the reduction in the
if you sure,
Chris, you gotta let me finish.
I know. I was just gonna briefly say. I'm just generally.
But again, I've let you briefly, but like very extenuously say. But I can't get a word in without you interrupting me. But go ahead.
If you crater the economy, like, I'm not suggesting that he has done this yet. I'm just saying, like, you based on your logic, like, if someone craters the economy, then and the oil prices go super low because nobody's buying any oil because no one has any money, then his policies caused oil to be lower. I'm just saying, that's all. I think the logic's not really great.
Chris, in order to say based on my logic, you're going to have to allow me to finish to be able to draw the conclusion that my logic is flawed. But you're not allowing me that ability. Would you agree? I mean, I think that's something you could agree, that you're not allowing me to complete my statements, and you're getting caught up in like, oh my God, I disagree and I got to say it now. And I mean, just friendly, just advice. If you want to do this, you got to allow the other side to be able to continue, or at least complete their thought. I mean, it's fair, right? If you want to have a genuine debate, you got to be able to allow the other side to finish, just as I've allowed you to finish. And Chris, there's been many times that I've wanted to jump in and be like, dude, you're wrong. But that's what a debate is about. I can point that out when you finish, and which I've been trying to do, but you've not been allowing me. So again, we don't need to keep talking about that, but just please allow me to complete my thoughts. And so where we were in discussion, which was regarding the oil prices. And we agreed that oil prices do impact inflation at the end of the day. And so the comments that I was making is, prior to the recent conflict in Iran, which we all can agree has caused a spike in the oil price, which definitely is going to have an effect on inflation, which, yes, nobody wants that to happen. But prior to that, we were doing well because of Trump's policies in bringing the cost of energy down. And when the cost of energy comes down, products become cheaper just because of transport and everything that the fuel is involved in. And Chris, I see you want to talk, so I'll land it there. But I need you to acknowledge that, and that it is objective that he brought that down, and that has had an effect on inflation. And I'll land it there, bud.
Two things. Number one, I'm not going to agree to that because, again, I understand. I sort of understand your logic, but I'm not, like, again, we're making a bunch of assumptions about economic data that doesn't exist. That's number one. And number two, the other, I think, problem with the logic is that, again, via what you cited, which I agree with, I said I didn't think that they'd come down to the lowest point since 2021. I was wrong. But the article you said about why they came down to the lowest, a barrel of oil came down to the lowest price since 2021 or GAV or, whatever, was because of tariffs that were enacted that caused demand to slump. And so you say he enacts these tariffs, which cause oil to come down, which causes prices to come down. But the thing that caused the oil to come down was inflationary itself. So I just don't think that. I think that there's like a big missing piece to your logic where I explained, and I think again this is not just an assumption, but also economic data to go along with it. That we saw 6 months of consistent rising inflation directly caused from his tariff. So if you implement a tariff policy that lowers oil, I'm curious how much the lower cost of oil is going to play a role in lowering prices when you have just enacted an incredibly inflationary policy. All of that to say, even if we were going to disagree on that, that, as you said, that was then, and now we're here, which is a war that has no justification and exploding oil prices that I think are about to get scarily substantially worse.
So I would definitely, if we want to move to Iran or Iran, I'll try to say it correctly. Not that I'm trying to say it incorrectly, by the way, but for some reason I like to say Iran. But that definitely is a warranted war, friend. I mean, we've been talking about it for, I don't know, as long as I can remember, and I'm pretty old. And so it's definitely something that's needed to be addressed. Obviously, we had the JCPOA, that went away. And, I would argue that if COVID didn't hit, or CVID didn't hit, that we probably would have done something about it in Trump's 1.0. But I think that drastically maybe changed some things in our focus. Not to say that we took our eye off the ball that much, but we definitely probably had some higher priorities at that time.
So
Go ahead.
Try to be as genuine as you possibly can be. Like, there's no way that going into this Trump administration that you were hearing conversations about the idea that now we have a strong leader, we can deal with a problem that's been a problem for 50 years. And I think on top of that, on top of that, there's no way that something being a problem for 50 years comes even close, or something being a problem for a long time comes even close to a justification for an imminent strike. And I think that, again, as I hear from different people, I hear from lots of different Trump supporters, many different versions of justifications. Like, I think it's important to note that your version of why we did this is different from Donald Trump's, which at first was different than from Marco Rubio's, which was different from the Pentagon's, and different from a set of other administration officials, all who had a different version as to why there was a need for an imminent strike. And I think in all that, part of the reason, I would suspect, part of the reason it's been a problem for a long time, but no president has ever done this, is because there's a lot of potential negatives that come with it. One of which is that, they control like a huge percentage of oil production, and Donald Trump is figuring out the really hard way that they have the Strait of Hormuz closed, and you've now eviscerated all the infrastructure around it. Goldman Sachs and United say they're prepared for $175 for a barrel of oil. Some are now saying up to $200 for a barrel of oil. I think recession would put that lightly. That would be unprecedented and a global economic or a global energy squeeze. And we saw today places in Asia like Thailand start to put restrictions on. They now have a 4-day work week because they're scared that they're going to run out of oil. We see other countries putting restrictions on shower time and AC time and all these other things. And I think that there is now also, even if Donald Trump backs out tomorrow, which I think he's about to initiate some version of a ground invasion of Iran, this will be Goldman Sachs also saying that they're prepared. They don't believe that oil prices will go down below $100 a barrel until at best mid-2027, because again, you have eviscerated billions of dollars of infrastructure that took decades to build. It's not just like it starts flowing again, and I think it's reasonable to believe that this will have some effect on oil prices for possibly the next 5 years. I've heard some economists say a decade. So, I just think that, again, the justification for an imminent strike is different for everyone. It clearly isn't there. 175 school children got instantly eviscerated by a U.S. taxpayer-funded missile in an obvious war crime. 13 American troops are dead. I don't even understand what the long-term goal is. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, so you kind of moved a little bit, far away from the, reasoning that we went to war, and more went to, the effects of what has happened because we went to war, or we have engaged in this conflict, which I would argue has been a necessary thing that has needed to be done, and Trump is finally president that did something about it. And so I can we can start, I suppose, with the Dorito that decided this is back in June of 2025, right? You remember the B2 Dorito that dropped the, I guess, mozzarella sticks on Fordo and the other two facilities in Iran. You familiar with that? Do you remember what the Democrat talking points were after we made that first strike and that first mission? Let me answer it for you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Y'all claimed that we did maybe 2 months worth of damage to those facilities, and those were the facilities that were enriching uranium, had the centrifuges, right? Would you say that that's accurate, Chris?
Yeah, I think there was questions about how, I mean, we got leaks from the Pentagon about
Okay.
limited damage, sure. I don't know.
Okay, so do you believe you were right about that assessment, that we didn't do as much damage as that we thought we did, and
That depends on who, that depends on who we is. I mean, I
I mean,
certainly,
that was the Democrats. That was the Democrats' talking points. I believe y'all were on
it's,
here,
it's not,
arguing
it's
that
not,
as well.
it's not
I mean,
really,
did you argue that, Chris? Did you
no,
ever argue that we only did about 2 months worth of
no,
damage?
I
No.
don't think I did. I think I argued that that the Donald Trump, I argued this, which is that Donald Trump saying that it had been set back an entire generation, and like a classic small government conservative threatening media companies for suggesting otherwise, did not, it did not line up from the leak that we got from the Pentagon that suggests that we potentially didn't completely eviscerate their nuclear program.
Okay,
But
so you'd agree that it wasn't completely eviscerated, right? That
I,
it was destroyed, but it wasn't gone.
clearly now
Okay.
that must
Well, I
be.
mean, again, that was the talking points. Is
Wait,
yes.
wait.
Hold on, let me just finish.
No,
Okay.
but it's not
But I
really.
let you
But
talk for a long time.
that's amazing. But I don't think that this has anything to do with what quote
If you'd
Democrat.
allow me to finish, I'll tie it together.
That's great, but I don't think that this has anything to do with
But
the.
you're not going to let me finish, will you?
That's correct. I don't think that this has anything to do.
correct.
I
I don't
don't think
want
that this
to-
has anything to do with the
It
quote.
does. Allow me to
Democrat,
finish.
I'm not going to. I'm going to finish first. This has nothing to do with the quote Democrat talking points. It's very simple. Donald Trump said that that he completely and totally eviscerated their nuclear program for a generation, and now we're striking because they're 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, which you haven't even brought up once. So I don't know if you agree with the president on that standpoint or not.
I'll get there.
But
I'll get there if you let me.
obviously, that those two things contradict each other. Whatever Democrats were assuming at the time, like I really could care less.
It's always like this, when I was in sales, I would ask people questions. And the reason I would ask them questions is because I just let them talk, because all of the answers that I may be looking for will probably come from them just talking. So if you would allow me to finish, I bet all of the things that you have questions about that you're like, oh my God, I want to respond to this, I bet they all get answered. Do you understand? You realize that's how it works. That's how a conversation usually works. And then if there's anything that I didn't answer in my rebuttal, you'll have that opportunity to come back and be like, well, I didn't understand this, or what I heard you say is this. So, I mean, again, just allow me to finish, Chris, and we can have a better conversation. Is that fair?
Go ahead.
Okay. So again, where we were at, and I'm surprised that I can even place mark this and get back to it, but I'm glad I can. So we were at the Democrat talking point of we only did about 2 months worth of damage, right? And I don't know if I agree with Trump or if I agree with the Democrats, but let's just stick with I agree with the Democrats right now. And we only did 2 months worth of damage. And I don't even know if we said Trump, because Trump kept saying that they would still have the ability to be able to salvage their material. That was talked about. So yes, he said he obliterated it, but he also discussed that they were rebuilding. And then there was evidence that showed that they were digging up their uranium. And so at the end of the day, if you go by the talking points of the Democrats, 2 months, and then you look at the strike back in June of 2025 and fast forward to February, that was over 8 months ago. So now you fast forward and say, all right, 2 months, they've had an additional 6 months wants to dig it up, and now that much more time to be able to enrich it to the capacity or to the level of weapon grade. And so nobody knows. They say that the taking it from this level to the next level could be like a couple days to a week. And so we can't take that chance at the end of the day. If they are in aspirations or going for that nuclear weapon, we are going to have to strike for the safety of the entire world, not just for the American people. And I'm going to land it there, Chris.
Yeah. So again, I just regardless of what other people said at the time, like Donald Trump said that it was set back for a generation. I just think we should take more seriously the words of the President of the United States. He says there it was completely and totally eviscerated for a generation. 8 months is not a generation. Furthermore, again, like that, the nuclear weapon talking point didn't even come up until I don't know how many days later after he started this. When he said they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, other administration officials said they never even mentioned a nuclear weapon. They all, at least some portion of them, mentioned a potential ballistic missile strike on allies on the region. Marco Rubio, when he first came out, didn't mention any of that and said that we had to strike because Israel was going to do it. And Donald Trump had the strength to know that if he went with them, there would be less casualties. He then walked that comment back a week later. So, the next day. So none of those things are just they're not consistent. With not only what Donald Trump said at the time during the strike, but when this happened, nobody mentioned a nuclear weapon until Donald Trump said it. And so, again, it's clear to me that other administration officials who honestly are worse than Trump in some way, because at least they have some amount of competence. They know he's so dumb. They've sold out my future for, fame and money and Fox News hits. When they talked about it at length, or Marco Rubio, no one mentioned a nuclear weapon. So, it's not even close to justifiable. And I don't understand why the first time we heard about a nuclear weapon was from Trump, who previously said it was completely and totally eviscerated for a generation.
Wait, so Chris, what am I, and just make sure I'm hearing you correctly, is what you're saying right now is that Iran did not have aspirations?
That's the definition of a straw man. I did not say that.
So, but you're saying that Trump is the first person to suggest that Iran had nuclear weapons or was trying to get nuclear weapons, and you think it's a straw man asking you if you think that Iran was trying to acquire nuclear weapons? Wait, explain that to me, sir?
It's a straw man because you said, are you telling me that? Are you saying that Trump? Or I'm sorry, I think you said. Are you saying Trump?
I'm hearing you say.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
Well, yes, of course. I've been letting you speak.
Okay. So you said that is it true that Iran? Are you saying that Iran didn't have an aspiration to get a nuclear weapon? No, that's not what I said at all. I think that the justification for if someone tells me that Iran is 2 years away from a nuclear weapon, I don't think that justifies an imminent strike by U.S. forces, and I think we've held that position for a long time. When I said Donald Trump was the first one to suggest, I was referencing after we started this engagement, Donald Trump, out of everybody in the cabinet, was the first one, I believe, to mention a threat of a nuclear weapon in relation to this strike. Other U.S. officials didn't mention a nuclear weapon. They had mentioned a ballistic missile threat, and Marco Rubio mentioned neither.
So, Chris, all of our discussions when it has come to Iran, regardless of the administration, regardless of the candidate, has always been themed with Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
I'm not going to get...
Chris, you gotta let me finish, my guy. I mean, you see...
You were actually very respectful, and I appreciate you being respectful. And I probably would continue this conversation with a smile on my face if it wasn't 1:30 in the morning, but it is. So I have to cycle. Okay, I'm sorry. I appreciate you being respectful. I'd like to have another conversation soon, or I actually continue the conversation. Hello, everybody from Isaiah Stream. Isaiah Martin is a fucking legend, bro. Oh, he's in my guest box. What a guy. Real quick. Clinton, thank you so much for $5 on Venmo. That actually goes a really long way. I don't take that ever for granted. Thank you so much. Can we get $1 million? That's a quick Celsius. Loving the hair color. Well, it's brown. And it's a nice shade of brown. It's always been brown. Maybe when I was very young, it was a nice blonde. Anarchism. Someone said anarchism is the path. This is like the definition. This actually, there's so much debate on Twitter right now. It's like the definition. All these leftists. I think I saw a TikTok video. It was like, no kings is so dumb and performative. It's like this Twitter post will never not be relevant, which says, here, I'm going to just find it. It's my favorite post ever. It's hilarious. And I just want to be clear, like I would consider myself like a progressive. I just think internet leftists are like insufferable. So it's just like anarchism is the way, or being like, someone was like, no kings is so performative. People on Twitter will really be like, you believe in voting? That pales in effectiveness to my strategy, firebombing a Walmart. And then they never firebomb a Walmart. I'm like, exactly. Everyone's bitching over here like, bro, why is no kings not violent? I'm like, what are you doing right now? What are you talking about right now?
Yo!
Is this my guy who just raided me? Is this him?
Yo!
Is this the guy who just raided me?
Sure is.
What is up, Drama Alert Nation? I'm your host, Killer Keemstar. What's up, man? How are you?
Bro, I just debated that guy that you had on here.
How'd that end?
Dude, it ended with me and Santana. He was crashing out so hard. We just started talking about sports, bro. And
that
he
guy was crashing out?
Yes, bro.
Why was he crashing? Why?
Because he cannot tolerate, like, just being cooked. He had no argument.
He can't tolerate being cooked. Well, wow, I wish I knew. I should have let you up while he was here.
You know, I get that it's a really demeaning feeling for the conservatives. I get it. But at some point, you just got to take the L, you know?
You have to. It'll be like when we play basketball. And you'll just have to like.
Oh, see, here you go, bro. There you go. There you go.
I'm sorry. But how was your live though? It was good.
It was good, bro. It was good. Speaking of, I just want to say what's up, bro. Dude, Chris Mowry's the GOAT.
Isaiah, you're a legend. Actually, bro, look at this right here. I got a ball.
Bro, you cannot beat me at basketball,
buddy.
bro.
I was gonna go hoop tonight. But then I subjected myself to this. So.
You know what? Look, no matter how much. Honestly, we might have to all TikTok live this.
Bro, I would do that so fast. Buddy, I should go set up my camera at some point in like this basketball area. I'm trying to protect my location, my identity.
Wait, Chrissy's back.
Oh, is he? I should go set up and just start hooping. And you can see me hoop. I could go live and hoop. I'm gonna let you talk.
You can't beat me, Chris.
I'm actually gonna let you talk to this man for a minute because I have to use the bathroom, dude.
All right, and then I'm going to sleep.
Okay, wait. You guys have be civil for fucking 60 seconds. All right, I'll be right back.
I can have a civil conversation. Isaiah, you don't have a mute button, do you?
Hey, guy, you're going to get probably 1 million views tomorrow, so you better be ready for it.
Oh, I'm down. Yeah, go educate your audience. I love it. You should also listen to that video and you will see what I was arguing, exactly what you said. And you're not going to be real happy about that if you actually go back and listen to that video.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You think you cooked, but you didn't. Like, I encourage you to listen to that. And maybe it might help you for your future debates. Why do you think that's funny? I mean, like, honestly, like, if you want to have a good debate, you have to allow people to have, rebuttals, Isaiah, and you didn't do that. And, like, at the end of the day, you can't have a good conversation. I was respectful to you, and I listened to everything you had to say, but when it came to me trying to talk to you, you didn't ever want to listen. Why do you think that's funny?
Oh, yeah?
I mean, go listen to it. I mean, I encourage you, and you will hear exactly what I'm saying. Like, and if you disagree, let's talk about it. Like, why don't you bring it up and we can like play it, clip by clip. And I promise you'll see that you weren't very respectful on that live.
I never said that I was.
Okay, well, cool. Like, then don't like try to say that.
Because the difference is that I don't respect you.
Again, see, you're going into it. There's no reason that you shouldn't. I mean, just because I have a different opinion from you doesn't mean you shouldn't have respect, or at least, I get it. Respect is earned at the end of the day, but to go in and be like, F you, I don't like you just because of, your side that you're on.
No, I just want to make it very clear. I dislike you because you're disingenuous
So give me an example of how I was disingenuous. Let's talk about this objectively.
For the fifth straight time, I'll ask you one last time. Are you saying that Doge was not created to cut spending?
I never said that. I said it was actually part of Trump's campaign to cut waste, fraud, and
That's not
abuse.
what I asked you.
I'm giving you the answer, and you're not. Again, how we started. You don't just because you don't like my answer doesn't mean it's not
I
an answer.
asked you, was Doge created to cut spending? And you cannot
I
give an
just
answer.
said yes. It was created to curb waste, fraud, and abuse. What
So-
part are you listening?
So how did that happen if the government is spending more money than they did last year?
That wasn't your claim, though. Your
Yes,
claim.
it was. How
your
is that?
claim-
So if my claim was about whether or not the government is cutting spending, and then I then tell you that the Treasury has confirmed that the government is spending more money than they did last year, well, then that negates the point. If it was created to cut spending, but they're spending more money, that means it did not happen. What about this? Do you not understand?
Doge was put in place to cut wasteful spending, not spending as a whole. And we don't
What?
need to go to Guy, you have to allow me to finish. Like you don't get to just interrupt because you don't like what I'm
But see,
saying.
Chris, this is what I'm talking about. See how
Can
you
I
cannot give an
try to
answer?
play third party here for a second?
ahead,
To the not guest that's not Isaiah Martin. Yeah, I mean, okay, like what you're
Hey,
hold on, what you're saying
Let me
make
finish my statement.
yeah, I
though?
will. But if I was going to accept your premise and say, okay, like Elon Musk himself said that through cutting that waste, fraud, and abuse, that they would be able to shave $1 trillion, which is by anyone who has a basic understanding of the economy, this is so absurd. But that he would be able to shave $1 trillion off the deficit. So he was the one making the claims that he would be able to cut the deficit through this waste, fraud, and abuse spending. So Isaiah's right.
Okay, so if you'd allow me to respond without being interrupted, please. This conversation began as Isaiah making a claim that the American populace, their reason for voting for Trump was to reduce spending. And then he proceeded to talk about Doge, and I had actually mentioned prior to that statement that Doge was part of the campaign promise. So I don't understand why it even got brought back up again. But the long of the short was he then went in to talk about, all of this wasteful spending, which I then claimed was subjective. And then he was like, no, this is objective, which at the end of the day, you don't get to claim it's objective. How I think spending should be and how you think spending should be is by its very definition subjective. And so just because you think it's wasteful doesn't mean it's wasteful. And just like, some of the Doge programs that y'all probably thought should have remained and I thought should have gone, it's going to be argued about all day. So for you to sit there and argue that your comments were objective is just wild as all get out.
And so this is what I'm talking about, Chris.
I'm
when I
not
say
done.
the
So
words.
he's
trying to say that it's subjective to say
I'm not done.
that it's
Like,
absurd
again,
the
see,
government is spending more money
you
than they
see-
did last year.
You see,
Like that's it's
I'm
like
not done.
you cannot even you can't even reason with this
Chris,
guy.
this is what I'm talking about. Like, if y'all want to have a conversation, like I don't interrupt you, I give you the respect to allow you to finish, but neither of y'all have been able to have the self-control to do the same. And regardless if you like me or not, if you like my opinion or not, if you want to engage in civic debate, you have to be able to have that self-control. Why is that funny?
It's just like
Just like you immature.
it's so
I know y'all are
whiny.
younger. I know you're younger, but the way y'all are doing this is, it's very immature. Like again, I'm trying to give y'all the
This
respect
is like such
at the end of the
snowflake
day and
energy,
listen to
bro.
you, but y'all aren't willing to listen to me. You
Okay,
realize
please.
that, right?
I want to hear this. Go ahead. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, he can't get it in 60 seconds,
I
Chris.
definitely can get. If you want to put a timer up, I'd be happy to. If that would help you stop interrupting me, I think that would probably be best. And so, at the end of the day, I'm trying to bring it back to where we were, which is what you're doing, Isaiah, is the epitome of the straw man. You took something that I was saying, which we actually agreed upon, and then you just wanted to create a minute argument around that. And that happens because you don't have the self-control to be able to allow an individual to finish so you can hear the actual substance of the debate and the argument. And I'll land it there, Isaiah, because I can see your box lighting up and that self-control just not being able to hold on. So there you go, bud.
All right, look. To that guest, I still hold my previous position that at least when it came to our debate, if you were respectful, we could have another conversation another time. I'm just tired, and my head's starting to hurt. I don't know, bro. You and Isaiah, handle your business. But sounds like to me Isaiah was being pretty reasonable. So that's trying to be as objective as I can be. But Isaiah's always reasonable. This guy's a fucking legend. Chat. I tell Isaiah this. I've told Isaiah this privately once. You and the guest here. Quiet. Shh. I've told Isaiah this once. That's right. I've told Isaiah this once. And this is not a shot. This is genuinely not a shot at any of the other amazing people, including content creators, many of which, breaking news guy, Parnas, what a guy, Olivia Leon. This is not a shot at anyone else that I know in the field. But Isaiah truly, two things about Isaiah. Number one, he is one of the very few people who has inspired me and actually, in some ways, especially relating to the Democratic Party, changed my opinion on certain things. And he's inspiring the way he fights. And number two, he's somebody that when I have a political question or I'm curious about something, I will often call and listen very closely to. That's not to suggest that other people don't listen closely to. He's just one of the few people that I really this guy is wicked smart, great guy. I love Isaiah.
I appreciate you,
Chris. I've told him this once on the phone. I just wanted everyone in chat to know. And I know most of you are here from Isaiah's Live. If you haven't already, make sure you follow this great patriot. Go ahead.
Chris, you're an American patriot.
Wow.
And most importantly, you're my brother. You're a great brother. You're my brother with a little bit less melanin. But you know what? You're still my brother. All right? We're just going to say it. I love you, bro.
I'm supposed to say it. I love you too, buddy. You're a good guy. You're a good guy.
All right, Chris.
You going to bed?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try to catch like a little bit of a second wind and try to keep going for a bit. We'll see.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Be safe. It was good talking to you. It was good to see you.
All right, for sure, bro.
Keep killing it. Yo, shout out to fucking Isaiah. Have you seen this dude's lives lately too? He's killing it. And thanks everyone for coming over from Isaiah. I love that dude. Good guy. Smart guy. Oh, okay, chat. All right. We're going to lock in. Yo, Thaddeus, thanks for $2 on YouTube, on the YouTube Super Chat. I actually appreciate you so fucking much. Go Mockler team? Yo, I appreciate it. Can we get 1 million W's for Thaddeus? I genuinely appreciate that. I don't take that for granted. I don't. And I mean that. It really means the world. The fact that anyone would be willing to donate monetarily in that way. Dark Sunray, $2. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Mockler was on TDO too. Screw everyone else. TDO? Question mark? TDO. I feel like this is something really basic that I should know. What TDO? What, he was on TDO? What? I'm waiting for someone to tell me and then me be like super dumb and be like, what? What was going on? Ryan. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna let Ryan good chat. I'm gonna try to get a second win. Double tap the screen. My head's hurting. All right, my head's hurting, but we do it for the people, for the troops and the kids. That's a really niche, dumb TikTok reference. Probably a creator most people would not like. He's just going really viral in the like manosphere space. He's so dumb, but I keep seeing his videos. He just makes, every time I see a video of his, he does drunk runs. It's like he just gets drunk and runs like 8 miles. And every time he does it, he's like, we're going to do a Don Julio run. And he like takes like 5 shots of Don Julio and runs like 6 miles. And he's always like, I got to do this for the kids and the troops. And now I'm just like, I'm like, for the kids and the troops. Ryan, buddy, you've been spamming my comments. Jackie, you're the best. Really quick. Yo, Bren, you're the best. Roxy, thanks so much for the $1 over on Venmo. There's a link to my bio. I appreciate you so much. Of course. Of course. Wait. Of course. Where's I do have space on TikTok. I think I might have to remove someone. What a great, or YouTube. Wow, I love all of you. What's up, Ryan? You've been real anxious here.
Yeah, dude. I'm just telling you, dude. You've been spreading lies and misinformation all night long, dude. That's why you got a damn headache, dude. Spreading too much damn information.
Is this a troll? Oh,
No, I'm not
Maddie,
trolling.
I would
I'm
never.
not.
We love
I'm
you,
not trolling, dude.
Maddie. I know you've been in here watching and also in the Grace.
I was in Maddie's live the other night
All right.
too.
Well, Maddie's amazing. If you guys don't follow Maddie, if a mod could pin, I promise I'm gonna get you up here to co-host soon, Maddie. I'm sorry. I apologize. We haven't done that recently. Okay. So not a troll. Great. What lies have I been spreading?
What'd you say? Repeat that.
How old are you, first of all?
I'm 32.
Okay. What lies have I been spreading?
You've been saying a lot. The dude I was just up here, yeah, I forgot what you were talking about, but he brought up a very good point against. He was countering Isaiah very well, and you chimed in, and he cooked both of y'all, dude. And also, y'all's whole argument against border laws and everything has been straight bullshit, dude. Y'all want to get these illegals that commit crimes from other countries in here, and improve our country is to get them out and make sure we're not getting their criminal.
Okay. So why does that improve your life?
It improves my life because number one, it frees up job opportunities.
Okay,
Number two,
let's pause right there. I think that a mass deportation program in the ways that you probably support it would do immense amounts of damage to the job.
well, right now,
job
unemployment is holding right now. It's holding.
Not really. I mean, it's been ticking up. It's also the slowest. It's certainly up a little bit, but it's also the slowest pace of hiring this country has seen in 25 years, not including COVID. It's harder than ever to get a job, at least certainly in our lifetimes. So that's number one. Number two, again, like when we look at just the basic statistics, again, I think immigration as a whole, documented and undocumented, has really, the U.S. has a labor shortage problem. We don't have enough native-born workers to work every single job. I think it would be significantly more of an economic problem right now.
We need more American-made jobs and more American-made
Okay,
workers.
but listen to my words. There is not, and look, I want to be clear about a few things here. Number one, the fix to what I'm saying right now, I don't believe is like letting everybody across the border. I think that there should be reforms in the border. I think there should be border security. I would like people to come here the legal way. I'm also understanding that that's very difficult, and I support deporting people who commit violent crimes. I'm not supportive of, like the really inhumane things that we're doing right now. But there's also a reality, which is, because facts over feelings, which is that you say we need to open more American-made jobs. There are not enough native-born U.S. workers to work every single job. And so if all of these undocumented people who are less likely to commit violent crimes are working statistically longer hours than Americans and are part of our communities, if they all got deported tomorrow, it would be, I think, in a lot of ways catastrophic for the U.S. economy and would actually lead to more Americans being unemployed because businesses would potentially go under, which would then cause American workers, if they worked at a business that also had undocumented people or documented immigrants in certain cases working, then they would have to go under, and those Americans would lose their jobs. But it's just an economic fact that we have a labor shortage, and immigration has played a huge role in curbing potential economic disaster from that over the last 5 years, let's say.
Okay, so can we both agree on this? When a immigrant crosses the border illegally, he is therefore a criminal. He is crossing the border with no papers, no work visa, no green card, no nothing.
What is the point? I just don't understand why we're doing it. I feel like you didn't address any of what I just said, by the way.
No, we can address that, but I want to make sure that we know that when an immigrant comes across the border.
I don't really care, like in this.
Okay, so then we can address it. We can address what you're talking about. Okay, so you said if we deported a bunch of immigrants tomorrow, it would make the economy go down by a lot, which I think is false.
Okay, the job market, yeah, sure.
The job market, yes, yeah. You said the jobs would the unemployment would go up. Yes, yeah, that's what you said, and I don't think that's true. I said open up more jobs for people.
Okay, but
go ahead.
There's not enough native-born people to work every single job.
Yes, there is actually. Yes, there is.
No, there literally isn't. The numbers don't support it. And again, the way Donald Trump is carrying this out right now, I don't think is at scale to what I think what he's doing right now is really horrible, and it's at scale, this mass deportation program. I don't think it's at a mass deportation program that you believe it is. If it was at the scale that you believed it to be, I'm telling you, it's just a numbers game. The amount of open jobs available to people is more than the amount of native-born people in the labor force. We have a shrinking labor force, okay? So it's a problem.
Okay, so Chris, how can it make the unemployment rise when it's the least amount of deportation in a term?
What did you just say?
So if Trump is deporting all these immigrants, right? Okay. The unemployment you say is rising. Okay. So then when, for example, when Obama was in office, I believe he had the most deportations, which was more than Trump. I know that for a fact. The economy, the unemployment was rising at that time.
I think there's like a lot of fat. I think there's a lot of fat. Like again, based Jesus Christ. The point I was making was like a very, very broad claim about the U.S. labor market. Obviously, when we zoom in a bit about what's actually happening practically with mass deportations, like what's affecting the unemployment rate is a lot more complicated. And obviously, the labor market as a whole is more complicated than everyone gets a job one-to-one. So just because let's say there's 100,000 jobs and there's 50,000 people, some of those people will like work at Walgreens while others may be like qualified to be doctors. I'm not qualified for certain jobs, right, et cetera. But again, like I don't even understand really what the question that's being asked here. Like Donald Trump is, I don't think Donald Trump, oh my God, go ahead.
Okay. So we'll go to a different topic. I can tell you're already getting pissed off about deportation. Okay. So can you okay. So about the gas prices, I knew he was lying about it. Honestly, a person with a brain knows that the president cannot control the gas prices, right? And so he used that to a tactic so he can win in the race. We all know that.
That's amazing.
Okay. Okay. So grocery prices, I would say they're going down. He just
they're not.
He just introduced an act that would, in the 87 category, where it's a lower grocery prices act. You can look it up, and he's waiting on it to get passed. Okay, so there is something that he's doing to try to lower the prices.
There's a lower grocery prices act sitting in Congress.
Yes, he just introduced it. I can show you right now.
No, I mean I'll take your word for it. But like again, this is a guy who's had like a mandate. It's been over a year. He's passed less legislation up to this point than any president in the last 70 years. Why was this not passed on like day 1 or 2 or 3? I mean, what is he doing?
I would imagine it takes a little bit of time to come up with it.
Joe Biden passed more fiscal legislation than any president in modern American history.
It was a bunch of bullshit legislation. We know that, dude.
Really? All right, let's go through a couple of them. He passed the largest investment in infrastructure since Eisenhower, $1.3 trillion for roads and bridges. Do you support that?
What did you say? Repeat that.
I said he passed the largest infrastructure bill since Eisenhower, $1.3 trillion for roads and bridges. Do you support that?
That one I did support, yes.
Okay, what about a huge expansion of veterans' health care, the PACT Act? 1.1 million veterans signed up in their first year.
I do support that, yes.
Okay, great. What about a CHIPS Act, 280, I actually don't know the number off the top of my head, it's been a while, but a CHIPS Act that gave private businesses tax cuts to give them incentive to bring their manufacturing to the United States. We immediately had big companies building huge manufacturing plants to build computer chips in places like Ohio and Washington.
Yeah. So those three I do support.
Okay. I also want to point out under Donald Trump, we've lost manufacturing jobs for 13 out of the last 14 months. Manufacturing is a fucking nightmare, and it's been declining in America for 30 years, but I think there's been a more substantial decline under Donald Trump because of his policies. But I just named 3 massive bills that, in total, I would argue, though that's more legislation Donald Trump's passed so far in his entire administration, and there's a lot more bills from Joe Biden. So like, it doesn't sound like to me you believe he passed a bunch of smaller, like a bunch of nonsense. I don't know why Donald Trump didn't pass the large infrastructure bill. Why has Donald Trump not passed veterans health care? Why has Donald Trump not done anything for manufacturing, even though he claims he has?
I mean, those are all good points, but at the same time, the thing with Trump is that we've seen in his last administration in 2016, we've seen how he likes to do stuff within time. He doesn't do it all at one time like Biden. I think last administration he took a long time to get the Tax Cuts Act, or that was day one, I forgot. But there was a lot of good things that Trump has done for this country. And I think the three legislation that you named for Biden were like the only good 30 things that he's done. If you can name any administration, or not administration, legislative that he passed that's actually worth the damn besides this three, I would like to hear.
But
Because
you're referencing Joe Biden?
Yes.
What about the American Rescue Plan, $1.7 trillion, some amount of COVID relief and large investment in education ever, public education?
That was a bullshit act. That was bullshit.
Really? Why?
Yes. Yep. That was bullshit.
Why?
Dude, listen. Public school, it needs a change.
All right. I'm just gonna stop. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna stop right there really quick. What about the first president to cap prices for drugs for seniors on Medicare, first starting with $35 for insulin, and then by the end of his administration, 15 drugs were capped for a certain price. My grandma voted for Donald J. Trump. She opened her first pack of cigarettes when she was 14, had a heart attack at 35, quit for 2 weeks. She is about to turn 90. She loves Donald Trump. She called my mom one time and she said, why do I see your grandson on Fox News? She's very supportive of what I do. And she says, Chris, I open your TikToks to make sure you're alive, but I don't play the volume on them because I don't like them. She's a very sweet woman. And she got COVID, and being a 70-year smoker was really high risk. My mom got COVID right around the same time. This was in 2024. And there was a new antiviral drug out from Pfizer. My mom went to the pharmacy to pick it up. It was prescribed to her, and it was $1,300. My mom did not buy it. Insurance didn't cover it. She's not paying $1,300 out of pocket. My grandma, because she's a senior on Medicare, it was free. And my grandma came home and she jokingly called me and said, quote, this is the only good thing Joe Biden's ever done. I was actually pretty impressed. Now, it's certainly not the only good thing that Joe Biden's ever done, but as somebody who actually does care about my grandma, that was pretty freaking impressive and actually meant a lot to me, because Joe Biden's a president who, although not perfect, was cared enough to serve, all people, not just himself and not just Republicans, as Donald Trump is the most outwardly corrupt president and sells food, sells shoes and phones and Bibles and pardons to the highest bidder. His net worth has tripled, and he tried to overthrow an election he didn't win with evidence. He didn't win it because he cares only about himself, and he's a raging narcissist. So what do you think about Joe Biden capping drugs for seniors?
Yeah, I think that's another one I can agree with you on there, Chris, because I think it does do good stuff for senior citizens like you mentioned, your grandma who might not have $1,300 in the bank to pay for it, but then Medicaid comes in and saves her. I think that's a good thing. But if you want to go back to the schools thing, because I know there's some people in the comments that want to hear me answer that, I'll be gladly to put my input on that.
Sure.
Okay. So with the whole thing of that act, honestly, the public schools change needed a long time change, and that act didn't do shit for public schools. It didn't do anything, and that's why private schools are more expanded, and that's why they're becoming more popular for kids going to schools. Public schools, go ahead.
No, I think. I think the bill just largely invested in public education because it needed that investment, especially, some of the investment, public education comes from local governments that were, I think there's some confusion and struggle under COVID-19 financially for local governments as well. So, I just think public education is not perfect, but I think that investing in it is good. And also at the time, the other major reason you need that level of investment is because I was a senior in high school when COVID hit. So But like I did the rest of my year online, and public schools needed massive investments to be able to have the technology and resources to get the technology running to try to teach kids online, and that was like a huge part of that bill.
Okay, so here's the thing about that. Public schools, okay, they say they're doing this and that, but there has been more issues and why Trump wants to defund the Department of Education. There's a lot more reasons than that. They're not actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think it's doing good. Now here's my thing.
Did you go to a public school?
No, I did not. No, I was in
you,
public school for about 2 years. I went to a private school.
you went to a private school.
Yes, I did.
How much did that cost?
For 1 year, it costed about $1,000 a year.
$1,000?
Yeah,
You
in
sure?
Louisiana. Yeah, here in Louisiana. Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I might not know a lot. I know a lot about public schools. I know I've only been there for a year, but I try to put my kids in there. It's terrible, and defunding it would be a lot better to do.
Right. Really quickly shifting here from money, like Donald Trump is like super corrupt, and is like, selling like phones and shoes and Bibles and cryptocurrencies and like pardons to the highest bidder and stuff. He's making a bunch of money. Does that like upset you as prices like rise and everything?
What'd you say? Repeat that.
Donald Trump is really corrupt and he's getting really rich. Bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
That he's corrupt and getting rich?
No, it's not a bad thing.
So you believe he is corrupt and getting rich?
No, I think he's getting rich, but what do you mean by corrupt? What is he doing to be corrupt?
Sure. I think that he's selling pardons to the highest bidders. I think he's making money giving pardons to people.
Okay, so pardons, right? So I guess you took the whole thing of him wanting to pardon Diddy and ran with it? Or name one bad pardon of Trump.
Sure. He pardoned a nursing home executive who was basically not paying his taxes and would end up buying a yacht or some like absurd purchases that caught the federal government's attention. He got arrested, pled guilty, and got sentenced to, I think I think it was like 14 months in prison or something, or 2 years in prison, and he had to pay the federal government back like $4 million. He would end up getting a pardon very shortly after that, and it turned out the pardon came 2 weeks after his mother showed up to a $1 million per plate dinner at a Trump super PAC, meaning you have to pay $1 million to get in the door. She had a private meeting with Donald J. Trump, and 14 days later, her son was out of prison with the only justification after defrauding the federal government being that he had been a strong supporter of President Trump and his agenda. So I think that's one example of several of outward corruption, giving favors to people who give him money. Donald Trump also sells a cryptocurrency that year to date is down like 80%, Trump coin. And in the first part of his presidency, he said that the top 220 investors by dollar amount would get to come to the White House for dinner. And the top 20 of those individuals, or 25, would get to have dinner with him. And so the number one, a lot of those investors, we actually don't even know who they are. They showed up to the White House in masks, which is a huge, I think a never before seen conflict of interest in the White House. I mean, Donald Trump could be getting money from a foreign government and be beholden to them because they're directly affecting his net worth, and we wouldn't know about it. Regardless of that, the number one investor of that cryptocurrency, of Donald Trump's cryptocurrency, which personally increased his net worth, was a man named Justin Sun, who was a Chinese national who was indicted, or who had a lawsuit against him from the SEC. That lawsuit also, I think, included Jake Paul and a few other influencers. And he basically had this huge fraud scheme in the crypto world. The SEC was going to be able to put him away for. He donates $30 million to Donald Trump's cryptocurrency. He gives another like $40 million or $50 million to World Liberty Financial, which directly partners with the Trump Organization to do cryptocurrency ventures. And all of a sudden, Justin Sun's SEC lawsuit magically gets buried, and the SEC, kind of out of nowhere, with no update on the case, says, with nothing happening on the case, says, after Justin Sun privately met with Donald Trump after giving him almost $100 million personally, the SEC said, we're going to reevaluate Justin Sun's case and the punishment related to that.
Okay. So you're talking about that part, and then are you also referencing?
Well, actually, I guess technically the second one wasn't a pardon, but the first one was.
Yeah. So then are you also referencing to the January 6th pardons?
I mean, that was not as much him getting rich as much as just like not caring at all about like the American people.
Okay. So your whole thing about him getting richer and corrupt is him pardoning people and benefiting off of it, right?
Yeah, and selling phones and shoes and Bibles, which is a whole other issue.
How is that a problem? How is that a problem? Please tell me. I mean, you're getting funded by the DNC, so I mean, I want to know what's going on.
Sure. So two things. Number one, like it's hard to grasp just how like any one of these individual things I've named would destroy a presidential campaign, surely from it being inappropriate and mainly there's just the conflict of interest, right? You don't want to have somebody who's enriching themselves off the White House. It opens the door for tons of conflicts of interest and questions as to A, why he's doing what he's doing, but B, who is in his pocket. So again, when it comes to cryptocurrency stuff, like never before have we seen the ability, and we got a report that there was apparently somebody in Saudi Arabia who gave $500 million to Trump's cryptocurrency. We don't know who that is. The idea that Donald Trump could be handing out government favors. I mean, he builds properties in Saudi Arabia. He's personally tied to, let's say financially, in some ways, his financial well-being is tied to the Saudi Arabian government. That's a conflict of interest right there. Is Donald Trump going to be as hard on, let's say, the Saudi Arabian government because if he has properties there? Who's giving Donald Trump $500 million in Saudi Arabia and for what? Those are all questions we don't know. To the second point, I'm not being funded by the DNC. I just talk about politics because I care about it. And
Okay.
You have no evidence that I'm being funded by the DNC, and frankly, I really think at this point, if the DNC owes anybody money, it's me, and there's several other people on that list, but. Honestly, I'm gonna be fully frank with you. If I got a call from Ken Martin, the DNC chair, right now, and he was like, "I'm giving you $50,000, but it's gonna be public," I'd take it, and I'd be like, "I did this. I fought for what I believed. Now I got to get my payday." But no, I'm not supported by.
I mean, I would assume
I'm not supported by.
Dean, Parker, all in the same group, right?
Sure.
Okay, so I know Dean and Parker are a bunch of DNC liberals, but okay. So I understand the Bible and the coin and the Bitcoin and the Trump coin thing. For the shoes, dude, it's just a pair of shoes, dude. Come on, it's just a pair.
I appreciate you responding to the other points. Do you support him pardoning January 6ers?
No, I don't. I think what happened on January 6th was very terrible, and that's not a way to go out there and protest. But him pardoning them just shows he supported the whole thing, and I was calling it that he was supporting the whole thing. He endorsed on Twitter to go riot or whatever, and that's just not a good way
what is like the breaking point for you for Donald Trump? Like, what is the red line then?
I would say the whole thing about him and being a pedophile. I think that's a huge red flag that needs to be addressed. But
well, it's not going to be. So it sounds like you got to make a judgment call on that. What about Trump cheering on the death of his political opponents?
What?
Yeah,
that has never happened, dude.
Okay.
Where is this at?
Sure. So Robert Mueller was a man at the FBI who investigated Donald Trump. All he ever did was be a part of the FBI, and Donald Trump wrote, I will read his exact True Social post. Quote, this was 11 days ago. Quote, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. Do you support that?
So he's implying that he's glad that he passed away because he
no, there's no implying here. He says, quote, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead.
Exactly. So he's saying that he's glad that he passed away because he was hurting innocent people.
Robert Mueller is a man who died of old age with his family. He worked at the FBI. He just investigated. He released a report about Trump and his ties to the election in Russia, or I'm sorry, the 2016 election and Russia's interference. He's a man who did his job. A decorated, as people in the comments saying, a military hero, decorated veteran. So, do you support those comments from Donald J. Trump?
I don't.
Okay, so how is that not like a, how is that, like if I said what would your honest reaction be if I said, quote, I'm glad Charlie Kirk's dead?
I mean,
Do you think that,
I never really liked Kirk. I thought he was a sellout. I didn't
okay,
really
well,
like him
I don't
anyway.
even, okay, well I think the point I'm trying to drive home here is like, how is that not like like an immediate, like, I can't
Yeah,
support
I
this
get what
guy?
you're trying to say. I think it is a bad thing to speak on people that are not longer with us.
Yeah, and again, this is not just like me, like people speaking on it just to speak on it. This is like, this is the leader of what's supposed to be the most powerful country on earth.
Yeah, no doubt. And this, with the whole video of the Lion King thing being around, and then I don't know who made the video for him, but whoever made the video for him needs to be fired because I mean,
Maybe Donald Trump should be held accountable for posting a video like that.
I think so. But with a man of his old age, he's not gonna know that the monkey thing with black people or African Americans.
You know, there's like here's a problem. Ryan, thanks for coming up here. I'm sorry, my head hurts. I gotta cycle. Listen, there's two problems. This is what you begin to realize, and I was telling people this before the 2024 election, and now it's really ringing true these days. It's like people think that the fight, and probably like a bunch of like establishment Democrats who sit around a table in DC all day, which I know many people view me as establishment, but in reality, I see myself as in between. Like, I think the moderate and establishment Democrats are too moderate, and the progressive leftists are just, I can't do that. So I would consider myself progressive, but leftists are like crazy, and the moderate wing's too moderate. So I sit in the middle and consider myself right about everything, while everyone else is wrong because I'm the smartest in the room. I'm also very humble, as you can tell. That was a joke. Regardless, all this to say, like, people don't realize, the DNC does not realize a lot of things. They don't realize that there's like two fights here. You have to convince people that hey, look at what Donald Trump's doing. He's corrupt. He says really bad things. He's really terrible. And then now, really, the main fight is like, people are like, yeah, why is that bad though? And so you have to go back to like I think, I've said this on several YouTube videos. I've said that I think that there should be mandatory courses after this period's over. 2 courses that you have to take, weekend courses, not when you're at work. Okay, we're talking about 3 hours total each course. You can split it up however you want. We can do 1-hour sessions. If you need if you need the Subway Surfers to play while we do the PowerPoint presentations, that's fine. Whatever gets your attention. 2 courses. What are leadership skills? Why are leadership skills important? That's it. Because it seems like nobody fucking knows that anymore. And I feel, my tongue is yellow because of my gum. I feel clinically insane. I'm being gaslit. I feel crazy as fuck. Okay? Sometimes I sit here and I'm just like, nah, I'm tripping, bro. Fuck, why do my standards for president are too high. I'm like, I want the president to speak and be nice and lead with empathy and be able to not handle hard problems and bring people together. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just fucking wrong. Maybe fuck that. I'm actually have no idea what I'm talking about, folks. Let's screw all that. It doesn't even matter. You know, the president should let's just appoint anybody as president. Fuck it. We'll pick a random TikTok guest. President of the United States. And honestly, well, how different could it really be? It's actually just, I just can't. I don't even know anymore, bro. You just start to go back to basic shit. It's like, why is corruption bad? And I'm just like, all right, well, we've pissed away our entire country. We've pissed it the fuck away. It's fine. It's fine. Kids stormed the beaches of Normandy to try to save democracy in Europe. And now they have to watch from their graves as people are like, well, I mean, Donald Trump is like corruption. I mean, not that bad. All right. Whatever, bro. I mean, fuck it. I try my best. You know, that's all I can say is that at least I'm trying. What does this kid want? Thanks for, Fee, appreciate you. Hello?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up? What are you getting angry about in my comment section?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah, no, yeah. I just was like, what is this monologue? And then your your groupies were like, "Shut the fuck up." So I don't know. I wasn't mad.
Okay. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, man. I voted for Trump 3 times.
That's great. How do you think he's doing?
I mean, it's not doing that bad.
Okay.
I can't complain.
War with Iran, high prices from the golden age of America, no wars guy. Thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't vote for him to not start any new wars. I didn't really care about that. My main thing was border security and getting rid of illegal aliens.
Why?
Because they're here illegally.
Okay. Can you give me a little? Can you try to elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah, so people entered the country and they're not supposed to be here, and I don't want them here.
Great. Why?
Because they're here illegally. It's pretty simple.
It's actually not.
It's a pretty simple debate.
It's actually not. I mean, I understand the idea that like people do illegal things, but I'm trying to ask like what about being illegal? What about that makes you want to remove them all? What negatives do they bring to your life?
Because Chris, they're here illegally, man.
Okay, so
if we don't, here I'll answer.
No,
I'll
actually,
answer.
I'm gonna get you to shut the fuck up just so I can do the monologue that you're gonna like assume that I can just kind of cut to the chase here. Yeah, obviously, I think that there should be border security. I mean, there's never been a time in Joe Biden enforced border security. I think it points to, in somewhat, those are some of my disagreements with Joe Biden, not because he wasn't harsh enough, but because I think at certain points, I don't know if too harsh is the word. I didn't love his executive order at the end of his administration, although it certainly curbed
the asylum ones.
Yes, correct. It certainly
sure.
Shut the fuck up. It certainly curbed the immigration.
Trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, I know. And so if you're grown and you're an adult, you can have that conversation.
Being very respectful.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you're being respectful. This isn't like this isn't a democracy. It's like a monarchy, and I'm muting you because I want to finish speaking, and then I'm going to let you speak. I just don't have the energy right now to like deal with what we're dealing with. Okay, you just came up here being like really annoying and disingenuous, and that's fine. I'm going to let you speak in a second. I just really just want to be able to finish this so we can cut the bullshit and I can get your answer. Okay, I support there being border security. I support there being a border. I think people who are here undocumented and commit crimes should be deported. I just think that we shouldn't be deporting people certainly the way we're doing it. Donald Trump is I think we're bleeding on the edge of constitutional crisis because Donald Trump is deporting people without due process, or ICE is violating court orders consistently in an assault on the judicial branch that I think we've never seen before. And I certainly believe from an empathetic standpoint, we shouldn't just be rounding up people who are here working and trying to live. People do illegal things all the time that the enforcement around it is questioned. I jaywalk all the time and police officers decide not to say anything about it. And the topic of illegal immigration in a country where we have a labor force that's really, really shrinking, and immigration has played a huge role in curbing that. And we have people who have been here for 20 and 30 and 40 years who have built a family. The answer of why do you want to, engage in this mass deportation is obviously an incredibly complex one. So if you could be an adult and not a 12-year-old and go, I just want them gone because it's illegal, and give me a little bit more, then we can talk about it.
Okay, well, you just said a lot. For basically, you just want them here for shits and giggles. So when people are coming over the border illegally, then what's to stop people from coming legally? Like that's an issue in and of itself. If you're worried about immigration statuses and don't worry about illegal immigration, I feel like that's just being disingenuous to the fact of the country's laws. These people are already breaking the country's laws by entering the country illegally, and then you're granting them amnesty. For what?
Okay, so you engaged in you certainly straw man my argument. I also want to just circle back for a second. You voted for a convicted felon. I always feel like that's like
so who cares? He's here legally.
Right. I always think that's, I mean, you're just talking
trumped
about
up charges is bullshit anyway.
Can you name what Donald Trump was found guilty of?
Yeah, it was business dealings to do with the campaign.
No. That's not.
I was looking donations for the campaign and Stormy Daniels.
Yeah,
right?
I was actually looking for a specific charge. If you call something a trumped-up charge that was found guilty,
he was literally charged with a bunch of different misdemeanors.
If you can, that's not how that works.
And again, made it a felony. Yeah, okay. That's exactly what happened.
Well, it's frustrating that somebody talks about trumped-up charges. The reason I asked what the charges were, because I always expect people to have a deep knowledge of the case if you're going to make such an egregious claim.
Yeah, it was you don't have falsifying business records for Stormy Daniels, a payout to Stormy Daniels.
You don't have a deep knowledge of the case, and your idea that they took the misdemeanors and made them felonies doesn't even make any sense. Just want to point that out.
So you don't understand that they charged him multiple times, basically for each piece of documentation
Correct.
to make a misdemeanor.
That's not why the
felony.
misdemeanor.
That's literally what happened.
Wait, that's not why the misdemeanor turned into a felony. Falsifying business records is a misdemeanor. Falsifying business records in the first degree is a felony, and it has nothing to do with the amount of charges. It's a felony because you falsified business records.
They literally stacked misdemeanors to make.
No, that's not. That's if you could let me finish.
Either way, I don't really care.
Okay, I know you don't care, but if you could let me finish, that's not why it had nothing to do with the stacking of the charges. Falsifying business records in the first degree is a felony if you falsify business records to conceal or take a step to commit a larger crime. So you could falsify business records 1,000 times and there'll be 1,000 misdemeanors. The felony only has to do with the intent. You have no idea what you're talking about, and you walk around with such confidence and arrogance because you're just a little child. It's embarrassing. You know nothing about a case that you are claiming is false, and it is so infuriating that you can take one of the most what will be seen as a historic criminal case and spit in the face of it because you're so arrogant and can't even do a little bit of research and admit when you may be wrong, that you just throw random shit. Oh, it's trumped up charges, so I don't have to talk about it. Like, you're so fucking full of shit. You don't even know the basic differences in the case between why it's a felony and why it's a misdemeanor. It has nothing to do with the amount of charges. That's absurd. And going back to the original point, no, I'd never said that I didn't care about their immigration status. I certainly care about people coming here illegally. I don't want people to come here illegally. I still, at the same time, acknowledge that the legal system has been flawed for 25 years. It's part of why I supported a massive immigration overhaul that wasn't perfect, but I supported it because at least it was a compromise and would get something done on an immigration system that has been broken for 20 years under Joe Biden, which would have approved or denied visas within 6 months. I agree. You can't give mass amnesty to people and not fix the root cause of the problem. I agree with that, but you made a bunch of claims about how I feel about immigration or mass amnesty when I never said any of it, which is the definition of a straw man. You are an incredibly arrogant person. And you should go to therapy and learn that it's okay to be wrong about things, or not even wrong, just accept that you have to do research to learn things. I don't know.
Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you're calling me incredibly arrogant, and you're just
so address the first point about the felonies.
Personal attacks is absolutely fucking nuts.
Okay, so let's address the first part. Address the first part about
some maturity here.
Cool. Address the first part about the felonies for me.
Okay, yeah. So they turned into felonies because they had to prove intent to commit other crimes with his business fraud, correct?
Yes.
Okay, did they prove that?
Yes.
They did prove that.
Yeah, that's why a jury found him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, and he's still on appeal, correct?
No. The case is done.
No, that's not being appealed?
No, it was appealed, but then he won the presidential election, so they found him guilty. But I forget what someone in the chat can tell me. I don't know the name of he was essentially found guilty, and it was done with no more there's no penalty because of what he had to go do and serve the presidency. But no, there's no appeal left. It's done. He's officially.
Why am I supposed to care about that?
Okay, well, again, in terms of the
I'd like to get back to immigration.
Sure, we can talk about immigration, but in terms
you're the one that pivoted into the 34 felonies that I didn't care about in the first place.
Sure, I'm happy to go back to immigration, but speaking of maturity, you could just, instead of being like, I don't care, you could just admit that you were wrong.
I'm still thinking that these charges got stacked. They got used against each other.
Can you admit that you were wrong about
put into a felony?
Can you admit that?
I don't think I'm wrong in that sense. I'll say you're wrong. I'll say you're wrong so we can. I'm wrong so we can move on. Okay, how about
this?
That?
Is maturity. It has nothing to do with the stacking of stuff. By the way,
they literally used forms to create a felony
that's not
case.
What that has nothing to do with why it was.
That's literally what happened. I'm looking at it right now.
No, it's not what happened. Again, I just want to be clear. You can literally get charged 1,000 times in the state of New York with a misdemeanor business fraud. The felony aspect comes nothing from the amount of charges. It comes from the intent, and you were wrong about it.
I get it. You already said, okay, for sure. Well, I'll concede to whatever, man. Mm-hmm. So now going back to illegal immigration. Let's go back to illegal immigration. Why don't you advocate for more, actual immigration reform?
I do. I supported the bill that Republicans and Democrats came together and crafted, and Joe Biden supported, and we had the votes for it until the last minute.
And why do you want illegal aliens not to be deported?
Well, again, I didn't say that. I said that I think that there's a couple things here. I'll speak broadly. Again, I think that from a moral standpoint, I don't think that we should be deporting people who are, have been in the country for 20 or 10 or 20 or 30 years, who've
Why not?
built families. Sure, I'm getting to that.
Well, I mean, if we can have a back and forth, that would be a little bit more helpful. You're going on like 5-minute tangents, and then you're bringing up entirely unrelevant things. So if we can just have a back and forth, that would be more
Unrelevant.
beneficial.
Unrelevant.
Correct.
I think you mean irrelevant. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
So
my
20
bad.
or 30 years, I have an issue with it morally. I also think, I don't think you care about the morality. So I think it's detrimental. Okay, great. So I think it's detrimental economically.
Okay, detrimental economically. Why didn't these people, if they were here for 20 years, get paperwork making themselves naturalized citizens?
I don't know. I don't think the intent of what they do has any relevance. You're talking about going on tangents about irrelevant things. I don't think that has any relevance to you asking me the question as to why I think it's harmful. I said it's economically harmful. Their intent about why they didn't get documents for 20 years is unrelated to that.
Well, I just think if they're going to be in the country for 20 years,
Okay, I
and
don't
then they're gonna cry about getting deported.
Two things.
Then I don't care about them being here for 20 years, man.
Okay, well, I don't really care what you think. You asked me for a actual, as opposed to my.
Okay, good. Then it doesn't have to be what I think. It's United States law. If you're here in the country illegally, you need to leave.
Okay.
Period. Done.
Okay, great. So again, instead of like going with my feelings, I gave you, and I actually moved on from the morality standpoint because you weren't going to care, even though I think that relates more than just feelings. Like the economic things, the economic impacts that come from this.
Okay, so our economy is trumped up on illegal aliens working who shouldn't be here. That's not good. That's
well, two things.
Well, why would we want
as
that?
As opposed to the. I mean, obviously, I think the language that you just used was fucking gross. But actually, to use better language, yes, I think that there's certainly economic evidence to suggest that a lot of the reason our economy recovered so quickly and is not in nearly as bad of a position relating to COVID is because of some amount of large immigration, because of our shrinking labor force. We don't have enough native-born workers to work every job. And starting in 2020, that really exacerbated because boomers are retiring at a rate of 2 to 1 compared to the average new worker. So I think number one, if all the undocumented people just got deported tomorrow, fuck the morality of it, I think the U.S. economy would suffer immensely, including U.S. workers who would be laid off because businesses would go under because certain businesses wouldn't have enough workers. Also, I think that economically they've saved taxpayers literally hundreds of billions of dollars on debt and deficit spending. I mean, the Cato Institute, which is obviously not a left-wing institute, certainly, I mean, I would define them as right-wing. They would define themselves as libertarian, whatever, came out with a great report about how undocumented and documented immigrants, both separately and together, have attributed massive gains to surpluses to U.S. debts and deficits. And the largest expenditure, or maybe second largest expenditure, or maybe third, but one of the largest expenditures for U.S. taxpayers right now is paying interest on debt. Because we have so much debt, and undocumented individuals, according to this Cato Institute study, from 1994 to 2023 had a $4 trillion surplus. I can explain why that happens, but they're significantly less likely to use U.S. benefits compared to average people, and they're still paying a bunch of different forms of taxes. And so those are two reasons right there that economically, I think the Cato Institute said that immigrants as a whole, 1994, if they weren't here, the debt to GDP ratio in the United States would be over 200%, which is unthinkable. So they I think, save American taxpayers money. They're good for our ever-increasing debts and deficits that are really becoming a problem. And they're really key to our labor force right now. Again, I hate talking about them as if they're pawns. I mean, they have families, and they're contributing to our communities, and they're having cookouts and, hanging out with neighbors and stuff, which I think is also important for the GDP.
Yeah, and they can do that and enter the country legally.
Okay. So what about the first point I said?
That's fantastic, man. And like you said, they're using legal immigration and illegal immigration. I understand that you're also citing a study that separates the two and looks at the pros and cons of both. I completely understand that. What I think you're still failing to understand is it's still illegal. And when you're allowing illegal aliens to be coming into our country, then it kind of lessens the incentive for people to immigrate into the country legally. We want legal immigration. Why don't you think so? If we allow people to enter the country illegally, then why would people spend so much money to come here legally? What's the point?
Two things. I'll answer that question, but really quickly, if you were to say that they were at least fiscally beneficial in some way, you still wouldn't care just because they're illegal.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so then, and I will answer your question, but then again, going back, like you're only but like surface level, it's just they're illegal. There's no crime, economy.
That is
nothing.
how we started this conversation, bro.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So again, I think you open yourself up to a host of other like logical problems, like why.
I mean, why did Obama say the exact same thing in 2011?
He didn't. I think that Obama.
Yeah, he did.
Well, two things. Number one, first, let me say this. Like, obviously, again, Obama's immigration policy was far different. Although I think that there was probably problems with how it was actually executed. To answer your first question, number one, I think that we don't just allow undocumented people to come in. That's never happened. It didn't happen under the Biden administration, who had a very similar deportation rate as Trump won, at least deportation in terms of coming to the border and being encountered at the border. There's never been a time where we're just like allowing people and not enforcing laws. And thus you say, what's the incentive? The incentive is to wait, 5 or 6 or 7 years. So there's not a 50%. So you're not, living under immense amount of stress and risk the potential deportation and have more access to, anything in the U.S. economy and don't have to like worry about all these different things. That obviously is not just true now, but was also true before. So like there's plenty of incentives, even if you say that, okay, there is a lot of undocumented people that have been here for 10 or 20 or 30 years. Like there's still plenty of people that are being deported all the time. We're deported under Biden, we're deported under Obama. And like, even if the laws were more laxed, I think there's tons of incentives to not want to live under that stress, for example.
Okay, so you're just saying, just because we allow illegal aliens, then ones that are still going to come here illegally.
We do not allow.
You're literally advocating for allowing illegal aliens.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 32.
You are getting like it's been like the last 10 minutes of this has been really like a brutal systematic evisceration. I moved you all the way from I moved you all the way from like a basic
Stop muting me.
I'm muting you because I'm still speaking. We moved all the way from like whatever you were saying to you just being like, you can't address any of my points on the economy. You can't address any of my points about any of the fiscal points I'm making, the debts, the labor force. You can't address anything without claiming that I'm for without claiming that I'm for illegal immigration. And then when I ask you for any more substance besides it's illegal, you can't name it. I mean, this is like if LeBron James played against fucking 12U like basketball players. I mean, it is systematic evisceration. Do you have anything else of substance to say up here? Or are you just going to keep saying I want them gone because they're illegal?
I mean, that's literally where I started at. That's where I'm ending at. That's where I was in the middle of this. I've been having the same conversation with you, and you've been having different conversations with me. That's kind of where we're at with that. If you'd like to move on, I'd love to talk about the Epstein files and why you guys think Donald Trump's a pedophile.
The issue's a lot more complex than just like your little version of like it's illegal, so I don't want it. Especially considering you voted for a felon. I got you really quick. They were on Pam Bondi's desk week 1. We're about to release them. Then they're a hoax. Then actually we should just move on from the files. Then what files? Then actually I don't want to release the files. Then being forced by Congress to release the files. And as of right now, the DOJ is actively breaking their own law, which I think could also have a conversation about, some amount of constitutional crisis, I guess. Breaking their own law because, less than 50% of the files we even have. And it was also required for them to explain the redactions of the files they did release in front of Congress. They have done neither of those things. That's Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, sent him a birthday card. Debate over. I really just think that one's like super fucking simple. And I'm also it's 2:30 and I'm going to bed now. But to that guest who's definitely like enraged right now, Josh, he's gonna be like, I ran. More than happy to talk to you another time. But man, dude, that last 5 minutes was like unbelievable. Like I was kind of in my prime there, man. That was some systematic evisceration stuff. Yo, thanks, Trish Jennifer. Carrie, you're amazing. Ken's, you're amazing. Maddie, I'll get you up here next time, Maddie. You're the best. Yo, Jert, thanks for watching over on YouTube. And thanks to all YouTube people. Jackie, 330 for me. Thanks for being here. Can we get some W's for Jackie? Thanks for being a Maori Squad member. No, I kicked him. If you want to be mad at me for that, that's totally fine. I will accept that. But he did not leave. I kicked him because my head is pounding and like I can't move to another subject. It sounds like a good stopping point. I'm happy to talk about the Epstein files though. I feel like that's an easier. I mean, in terms of ease, I hate talking about subjects that relate to human beings as easy. But in terms of a debate, I feel like that one's a lot fucking. I mean, that's like 2 + 2 shit, dude. Like Donald Trump said he's going to release the files, and then he didn't release the files, and we don't have all the files, and all the redactions are Trump. Why? Yeah, guys, I gotta go to bed. I can't believe it's 2:30. All right, listen, I love you all so much. Rochelle, thank you. T Roller, thank you. My name is Hype. Do more lives. Yes, ma'am. Yes, whoever. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but I do now. You're the best. You're just as good or better than the other live ones. Man, you're so kind. Thank you. I appreciate that. It truly means the world. I will do more lives. I've been trying. The Trumpstein files. That's right, Catherine. But in relation to that, you can it actually does help me if you rewatch the lives, and you can rewatch them over on YouTube. Anyone can. Just thought I'd let you guys know. Yo, Matt Attack. I appreciate you. That's true. You know, security. That's actually a good point. Maybe I should be giving him credit. That's actually not even a bad point. Yo, thanks so much for the $2, Kim. 3:30 a.m. Eastern. Hershey, PA, Kim. Thank you. Wow, that's correct. 3:30 a.m. You choose to be watching me. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart to everybody in here, and again, $2, genuinely, I appreciate that so much. It goes a long way. I mean it. The fact that it's 2:30 Central Time here in Chicago. The fact that people decided that it's so late wherever you are to stay up and hang with me and allow me to just do what I love, which is rant about politics, I am so grateful every day I wake up. I think about it constantly. It means every single one of you means so much to me, and I love you and appreciate you. Maddie, I know 2:30 over in Texas. You're the best. Make sure you guys are following Maddie. 4:30. Kristen said 4:30 here. Can't sleep. I'm sorry. That's the worst. Sleep has been a struggle lately as well. It's all right though. Just turn off your phone. I'm proud of you. You're doing good. Remember that. Maeve, you're the best. Oh, Hayden, you're not gonna fail your exam. I could finally see you. I might fail my exam, but I could finally see you live. You're not going to fucking fail your exam. I promise you. Go in there, head up. You got this. And I actually genuinely thank you so much for hanging around with me. It means the world. Also, Eastern time zone is superior. I kind of miss Atlanta, Eastern time zone, but it's all right. It's all right. We're in Central, so it's fine. W West Coast. All right, Roxfox. Oh, there's Roxfox. Okay, I'm going to make you a mod. I might have to do that next time, but I promise you're literally the best. Oh, my goodness. All right. Hales, good to see you. Disagree Pacific's the best? Could never. I'm sorry, I can't do Pacific. Who's this? Hold on a second. Hey, Chris, I'm working with Matt Gromlich's campaign against Mike Johnson. Yo, holy shit. Optimistic Pelicans fan. First of all, you're a GOAT. A New Orleans Pelicans fan is brutal, though, man. Zion was like supposed to be the guy. Okay, I actually do really have to get off, but if you want to email me, maybe we could connect. There's an email with a link in my top of my TikTok, chris@chrismaury.com, I think. Mod me or debate Jordan's better? Listen, Big Z, you do drive a tough bargain. I might have to mod you, but Jordan's not better. There's zero way that. LeBron James. Imagine being a Saints fan. Bro, my best friend is from New Orleans. Like my best friend, my childhood best friend's from New Orleans. Dude is obsessed with LSU and the Saints. I'm like, all right, bro. A Texans fan is pretty brutal, Maddie. I remember you being like, the Texans are going to win. Who'd they play again? They played the Pats? Brutal. Nat, good night. Thanks for being here. Bren, you're the best. I love you, Bren. Kobe's the GOAT. Oh, my. You know, no hate on Kobe Bryant. Kobe's a legend. He's not the GOAT, though, bro. Come on. Kobe's not the GOAT, bro. The top five go, and this is generous. I think ESPN has Kobe at 12. Okay, I'm not ESPN, but LeBron, Jordan. Jesus, I'm tired. I now have to shift my brain. LeBron, Jordan. Oh God, I just realized. Maybe it goes. Oh, dude, I can't even remember my own top five. LeBron, Jordan. maybe it's like LeBron, Jordan. It wouldn't be Hakeem and then Magic. And also then there's also now all these questions about Magic. How good is Stephen Curry? But Stephen Curry's not in the top 5 conversation. The problem is it becomes like logically hard. If Steph Curry's the best point guard ever, then he has to be in the top 5 conversation probably. But he's probably not. He's probably 2 and Magic's 1. Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Shaq, Steph. No. Mm-mm. It's LeBron, Jordan, like maybe it's LeBron, Jordan, Hakeem, Magic, Kobe or something. Shaq's certainly the most dominant player in NBA history, but not top 5, no. Could be Julius Erving, Dr. J. You still support Drake, you don't know ball. What the fuck does that mean? Kobe's definitely higher than Magic, no chance. No, sorry. I'm sorry, is that Ken's? Yeah, I'm sorry. I like Kobe. Bro, how are people mad at Kobe at the 5? That is so generous. ESPN has Kobe at 12. Bro, what are you talking about right now? Someone say Jokic? I mean, that dude might be like the best center ever, though. He's not done yet. I mean, it's crazy. Bro, I'm not fucking putting Jokic in my top 5. What the fuck? It is kind of crazy, though. Like, what, how many MVPs has he won? And then that dude doesn't even care. Dude doesn't even care about basketball. Every time they're like, how does it feel to be the first player ever with like 50, 30, and 13? He's like, it doesn't really mean anything. I just want to go home and see my horses. Dude, so funny. So funny. Yeah, Jokic top 5 is crazy talk. I mean, it is crazy talk, but also, again, it's really, the top 5 thing is hard because, like, I think you can box people. I've had these debates. You can box people into, like, logical inconsistencies. God, I sound like a fucking debate, bro. I gotta stop talking like I'm on TikTok. But you can, how, you can't, like, Jokic genuinely is, like, in, like, the conversation for, like, not best center ever, but, I mean, he's up there, dude. Like, the guy is fucking crazy. The guy is absurd, and the accolades are already so absurd. So it's like, okay, if Jokic is one of the best centers to ever play the game of basketball, like, why is he not in the discussion? I don't know, bro. Bill Russell, don't forget 12 rings. Yeah, nobody respects the 12. Nobody respects the 12 rings because of, when Russell plays. It's like the same with Wilt. Does anyone have video of the 100-point game? I don't. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, I've had a... Okay, guys, I gotta go to bed. Do I always go live this late? Not always, but I do go live late a lot, which is unfortunate. All right, guys, I love you. You're amazing. YouTube, thanks for being here. Edgy, you're the best. Thanks for... Someone said Tim Duncan. I like basketball a lot. Yeah, it's like one of my favorite sports. Someone said Jordan. Jordan, LeBron, Dr. J. Nah, can't be Bird, bro. Birds cannot be in that discussion. Jordan, LeBron, Wilt, Oscar... Kareem. Well, I had Kareem at 3. I agree with the Kareem. Oscar, I mean, Steph's better than Oscar. No, just be real about it. I'm not even trying to be that guy. I'm just saying, best shooter of all time. But is Steph better than Magic Johnson? I don't know if Steph's better than Magic Johnson. I don't know. I'd have to go look at the accolades again. I can't fucking remember. All right, LeBron not my top 10. All right, excuse me, Hayden. Excuse me. All right. Thank you guys for being here. I love you. Catherine, Alex. Love you, Chris. Always enjoy your lives. I appreciate you. Edgy, Jackie. You guys are all the best. TikTok, Rochelle, Maddie. Thanks for being here. Truly, it means the world. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to bed. Get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Mwah.